Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from Titleist and Bushnell. Elevate your performance with Titleist TSR drivers designed to maximize distance. While you're there, grab a dozen Pro V1 or Pro V1X golf balls. And from Bushnell, save up to $75 on the Tour V5 and Tour V5 Shift rangefinders. We also have gift cards for those favorite golfers on your list. Don't miss these holiday gifts and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
312 Pizza Company is home to Southeastern Carolines with Caroline Fenton.
Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Broadcasting on Alexa.
I appreciate that.
And other smart speakers. 102.5 and 106.3.
1, 2, 3. I think it was a good game. Had a couple of big plays.
Oh, man, yes, he scored.
The Game.
A Cromwell Media Station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the losses of Amanda J. Gentry. Everybody's out today. Nick's in for Ian. Hello, Nick.
What's up?
So we have got a loaded show today, but let me start with this. It is A.J. Brown week, and that's why, even though the Titans don't want to talk about A.J., everybody had to talk about A.J. They don't want to talk about it. A.J. had to talk about the Titans yesterday. He tried his hardest not to say anything petty, though he definitely crossed the line a couple of times. But the expert on all things AJ and the Titans, Teron Davenport, he'll be with us at the top of next hour. But I want to get to this, because the thing about life is it's not fair. It's not fair. Sometimes we hear people say, oh, that is not fair. It's not. Guess what? Life is not fair. Sometimes in life, you get the raw end of the deal. Sometimes, hey, you thought that you were going to have this, and then all of a sudden something happens, and now, oh, my windshield got shattered. That's not fair. You're right. It's not fair. Somebody close to you gets sick. It's not fair. I agree. But at the end of the day, with most things, nobody really cares. So it's not fair to Treylon Burks that everybody is ultimately going to compare him to A.J. Brown. Treylon Burks, when he declared for the NFL draft, had no idea if he'd be taken with the 13th pick, the 15th pick, the 22nd pick in the second round, or like he was, the 18th pick. Treylon Burks didn't call the Titans and tell the Titans, hey, I don't know if I'd like the pressure of replacing A.J. Brown, a top 15 receiver in the NFL. The best receiver by far on a team that was the number one seed in the AFC playoffs last year, and thus, its fans probably think they're contending for a Super Bowl. But that's the hand he was dealt. It's not fair to Joe Burrow that he had to go to a notoriously cheap organization that doesn't have great infrastructure, that he's got to play for Zach Taylor, a coach who, for the most part, is kind of a doofus, with a defense that wasn't very good, with an owner who didn't even have an indoor practice facility. Nobody cared, though. Joe Burrow's figured it out. Nobody feels bad for all those guys who get picked in the first round by the Detroit Lions and how their careers whittle away if their names aren't Calvin Johnson or Matthew Stafford. Nobody cares. So the reality is, while it may not be fair, Todd Downing today was asked to compare A.J. Brown and Treylon Burks, and he said, well, it's not fair.
A lot of people want to make a comparison of Treylon to A.J., and obviously this week with you guys playing the Eagles, what are some of the similarities that they have, but what are also some of the differences in the two?
Yeah, I don't think a comparison with those two is fair. They're each their own individual player and, at different points in their career and development and all that. So I'm excited about where Treylon's been trending the last couple of weeks, the way that he's caught the ball well in contested environments, the way he's produced a little bit after the catch, made some contesting catches. So, excited about the trajectory he's on, and obviously, we love AJ. AJ's in a different phase right now.
Oh, see, there you go. It's not fair. It's not fair. They're two different players. They're two different. Let me tell you something. When contract negotiation time comes up, guess how they discuss what to pay a player? They compare him to other players. How often do you think a team sits down, looks at the stats, and says, we think your player deserves $14 million, and the agent counters back and says, well, the guy in Washington just signed for $18 million, so we think he's worth $19 million. Oh, every negotiation in the NFL. So it may not be fair, and they may be at different stages of their career, and Treylon Burks may have the potential to be A.J. Brown. Treylon Burks may play a different kind of game than A.J. Brown. That I couldn't tell you. But to act like it's not fair for all of us, or for really everybody, to be able to look at Treylon Burks and say, hey, here's the production that you have to have, is ridiculous. It's nonsensical. Think about when the Titans were on the clock prior to trading A.J. Brown. I did probably 500 shows leading up to the NFL draft, and we knew the Titans had two receivers, A.J. Brown and Robert Woods. They had a tight end, Austin Hooper. They had a running back, Derrick Henry. They had a quarterback that a lot of us weren't in love with, Ryan Tannehill. They didn't have a left guard. They didn't have a right tackle. They needed help in the secondary. They could always have used a linebacker or two. We weren't sitting there saying that the top need of the team right away was receiver. Now, we thought they could use some receiving and tight end help, but we didn't think that was the top need right away. Then they trade away A.J. Brown and they draft Treylon Burks. Well, now he's the receiver. It's unfortunate. It's not fair to Jordan Love that whenever that moment comes in which the Green Bay Packers decide Aaron Rodgers is no longer their quarterback and Jordan Love is, it's not fair to Jordan Love to say, hey, here's the standard with which you have to live up to. Aaron Rodgers is only one of the 5 or 6 greatest quarterbacks of all time. Here's the standard in Green Bay. It's Brett Favre, it's Aaron Rodgers. That's not the standard if you quarterback the Houston Texans. But guess what? Life's not fair. Tua Tagovailoa in Miami is learning something that Ryan Tannehill had to go through. When you're the quarterback of Dolphins, Tannehill comes to Nashville, takes over the Titans, takes the team to the playoffs. Everybody loves Ryan Tannehill. They gave him a $100 million contract over Tom Brady. Why? Because nobody here said, hey, we want you to be Dan Marino. He had spent his entire life in Miami with people saying, are you going to be the next Dan Marino? Just look at how the Titans play. They don't ask Ryan Tannehill to play like Dan Marino. So it is ridiculous to say that we aren't allowed to sit there and compare A.J. Brown to Treylon Burks. It's ridiculous to think that the Titans, when they made that trade that day, were not, in fact, comparing A.J. Brown to Treylon Burks. I love how Todd Downing says it's not fair to compare them. Let me ask you a question. Do you think that inside the Titans facility, when they were discussing making this trade, whether it was John Robinson, Mike Vrabel, Ryan Cowden, Todd Downing, whoever it may have been, sitting around saying, you know what? We think, and that deal with Philadelphia was worked out early in the day, so it wasn't like the Titans made the decision in that 15 minutes. That decision had already been made. That sat there and said, you know, if we trade A.J. Brown and we don't have to pay the $26 million a year, and we pick up the 18th overall pick, and it was clearly contingent upon either Treylon Burks or a specific set of players being available with the 18th overall pick, they're sitting there saying, okay, do you think that Treylon Burks can come in here and replace AJ? If they didn't do that, then they would be out of their mind crazy. Of course they did. Of course Robinson posed the question to Vrabel. Of course Vrabel posed the question to his offensive staff. Hey, do you guys think that if we make this trade, that Treylon Burks can become A.J. Brown, that he can become our number one wide receiver? What is the drop-off between A.J. Brown and Treylon Burks? That is absolutely the discussion that went into it. If not, that would be malpractice by the brass of the Titans to do that. So now that Treylon Burks, who's had a couple of good games, and I'm encouraged by Treylon Burks, but now that Treylon Burks is playing A.J. Brown, everybody is telling us you can't compare A.J. Brown to Treylon Burks. It's not fair to Treylon Burks. In fact, TD asked Treylon Burks about that idea of, hey, the comparisons between you and A.J. Brown, and Treylon Burks threw up the stop sign on that yesterday.
That whole comparison aspect, is that something that, like Rod Moore and John Robinson, all those guys, they try to make an effort to, stay away from with you? Is that something that you've noticed?
I mean, like I said, he's AJ, I'm Treylon. We're two different people. We both got our differences in our game, so we just play ball.
Uh-huh. See, the reality here for the Titans is that they need Treylon Burks to produce more. That's what they need, because they need him to be like A.J. Brown, because that's what they brought him in to do. And it's not fair to Treylon Burks. A.J. Brown is the second best wide receiver this franchise has ever had. The only other guy that's in the discussion with A.J. Brown just left this studio about 10 minutes ago. And the last time he played for the Titans was 20 years ago. So it's been a long time since the Titans have had a high-end receiver. And they've tried. They drafted Kenny Britt in the first round. They took Corey Davis with the 5th overall pick. And I think Corey Davis is probably a good example. Corey Davis was a fine receiver as a member of the Titans, but he was never the 5th overall pick. And at the end of the day, the expectations were, you're the 5th overall pick. You were taken in a draft before Patrick Mahomes. You need to play better. When we look back on Corey Davis's tenure with the Titans, picked 5th overall, 4 seasons, 2 of which were solid, 2 of which were underwhelming, I'd say that's a bust, because he was taken with the 5th overall pick. No second contract for Corey Davis. And he was a fine player, but again, he was taken 5th. Wasn't his fault he was taken 5th. They took him 5th. He didn't volunteer to go 5th overall, but that's the hand that he was dealt. And with Treylon Burks, that's the hand that he was dealt. He is replacing the number 1 receiver on a team in which made it to the AFC playoffs as the number 1 seed last year and was maybe 1 or 2 tweaks away from the Super Bowl. If the quarterback just didn't turn the ball over, the Titans probably would have gone to the Super Bowl, and I think given who they would have played, the Titans would have won the Super Bowl. Now, I don't know how this quarterback has all of a sudden figured out how to not turn it over this season, but he hasn't. But the truth is, this week, it's on full display. It's AJ versus Treylon. And I know that's not fair to Treylon Burks, but go to ESPN.com because they're grading the trade at ESPN.com. The A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks trade. And the Titans right now are getting the short end of the deal on it. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. This whole it's not fair. Where did that come from? I love the idea, too, of Todd Downing sitting there. And I tweeted this out earlier today because there were about 3 or 4 things Todd Downing said in which I feel like Todd Downing talks to the media. And when it comes to the media, you're really not talking to the media. You're really talking to the fans. But boy, he talks to everybody like he's the smartest guy in the room and everybody else is stupid. Oh, yeah, I don't think you can compare A.J. Brown to Treylon Burks. Well, you traded A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks, so I think you probably did compare it when you made the trade. That's not the only thing. Speaking of which, there is one thing I'm going to defend Treylon Burks on because I don't think it's completely Treylon Burks' fault that as up to this point, Treylon Burks has disappointed in comparison to what they gave up. And that's just calling it how it is. That's just telling it how it is that what they gave up in A.J. Brown, what they've received in Treylon Burks, it has not been good enough to this point. But there's another thing in which I'm going to defend Treylon Burks on that I think is not his fault. And I have been screaming it, and the numbers do not lie. We'll get to that next. Jared Stillman right here, 615-737-1025 if you want to weigh in, 615-737-1025. First, though, Caroline wants to tell you about the Caesars Sportsbook app. Oh, no on that? Okay, I guess Caroline doesn't want to tell you about the Caesars Sportsbook app. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
College football.
Touchdown, Georgia. Nice catch and move by Holden. Touchdown.
Touchdown. Lives here. Don't miss every exciting play each Saturday.
Into the end zone. Touchdown to the freshman, Dane Key.
It's all presented by Twin Peaks, your home of 20-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and by Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Calling all sweet tooths. Head to Nashville Toffee Company, a place where rich, chocolatey daydreams are created from a secret family recipe generations in the making. Their toffees and candies are handcrafted in Nashville using all natural, kosher-certified ingredients. Sweet creamery butter, pure cane sugar, premium roasted nuts, deep rich chocolate, and sea salt. Visit NashvilleToffeeCompany.com or drop by their headquarters on Air Lane Drive for a positively hassle-free shopping experience. Whether you're buying for 1 or 100, Nashville Toffee Company is here to make your holiday gift-giving easy.
It's lucky week 13 in the NFL, folks. You can start off right with a no-sweat same-game parlay from FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Joe Rexford here to let you know it does not matter if you're new to FanDuel or if you have an account already. You're going to get free bets back if your Thursday night same-game parlay doesn't hit. NFL same-game parlays are the perfect way, of course, to combine bets for a chance at a bigger payday. This is actually a very interesting and fun game, I think. Bills-Patriots. I would go a Josh Allen anytime TD in this game. I might do 2 Josh Allen props and go over on the rushing yards too. And I'd go Bills in this game. But, the Patriots do have a tough defense. You might take the under overall. Do whatever you want. Build your own or choose from one of the popular same-game parlays pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, bet the NFL Thursday night with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Sign up with promo code JOE102 if you don't have an account. If you do, you're all set. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum dollar bet required. Refund issued is now available. Free bets expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbet.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line 800-889-9789.
Mid-State Sports winter registration is going on now. Register your child ages 3 through 13 for indoor soccer and basketball. Adults can register as an individual or a whole team for indoor soccer, flag football, volleyball, and basketball. Info at midstatesports.com.
Hey, it's Hutton. Interest rates are rising, but not at Spring Hill Heating and Cooling. Replace your old unit fast before new regulations increase prices up to 20%. Get a new unit today at today's price and receive up to $1,500 off, or get 18 months of no payments, so the first payment is not until spring of 2024. At Spring Hill Heating and Cooling, all new systems come with a 10-year parts and labor warranty. Schedule your appointment now at springhillac.com. That's springhillac.com.
When joint pains cause you to sit out on everyday activities, it's time to make an appointment with Dr. Matthew Beal at Houston Clinic Orthopedics. Dr. Beal can diagnose your problem and treat the joint pain for both surgical and non-surgical matters. Board certified and fellowship trained, Dr. Beal specializes in hip, knee, joint replacement, and adult joint reconstruction. Visit tn.houston.com to learn more about Dr. Beal and to book an appointment online. Houston Clinic Orthopedics, when experience matters.
Hey, it's Chase McCabe, and every season is screwball season in my house. No matter the time of year, that rich, smooth taste just hits the spot. Y'all know Screwball. It's made with real whiskey, peanuts, and peanut butter, and it's just flat out delicious. It's my favorite. However you take it, as a shot, in an espresso martini, or a peanut butter old-fashioned, make it a Screwball peanut butter whiskey. Enjoy responsibly. Copyright 2022 Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors, 35% alcohol by volume.
Never miss a moment of the show.
What is this? Check it out.
Subscribe to the Stillman and Company podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and wherever you get your podcasts. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
He didn't ask the Tennessee Titans, hey, won't y'all trade A.J. Brown? And I guarantee you, if you draft me, I'm going to be that guy. We're not going to miss a beat. He didn't ask that. So you can't blame or, put Traylon next to AJ and say, well, his production doesn't match what AJ did his rookie year or this year. It's unfair, really, to compare the two this year because Traylon is 1 year in, not even 1 year in. He's like 6 months in, and A.J. Brown is 3 years and 6 months in. So to try to compare the two, it's unfair.
There you go. That was Derek earlier today talking about how, look, man, like it's not fair to compare A.J. Brown to Traylon Burks. And that's what Todd Downing said. That's what Traylon Burks said. That's what everybody. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Life is not fair. By the way, it should be noted that at the end of A.J. Brown's rookie season, so for the last 6 games, there's 6 games left for the Titans, A.J. Brown averaged 4.2 catches per game, which does not sound like a lot. 24 yards a catch, 100 yards a game, and he scored 6 touchdowns. This is where A.J. Brown became an elite player, the back half of his rookie season. So Traylon Burks still has time. But one of the problems that is obvious is that the Titans don't play Traylon Burks enough. Going back to Sunday, they only played him 67% of the snaps. Both Robert Woods and Nick Westbrook-Akine played more. And I looked it up what A.J. Brown played in terms of the snap counts, even his rookie year with Arthur Smith as the coordinator, and at the end of the season, where Traylon Burks is currently playing 50%, 67%, A.J. Brown was playing 94%, 90%, 84%, 91%, 100%, including 99% for A.J. Brown in the wild card game on the road at New England. Today, Todd Downing, the offensive coordinator, and I think Vrabel is just as much at fault as Todd Downing is, but Todd Downing was asked, why does Traylon Burks not play more?
Snap count with Traylon. Is there a reason you don't see him get as many as maybe Woods and Nick or even AJ last year, or is it kind of a progress work building up to that?
Yeah, I think there's a natural progression into that as you're coming back from some time down, and I think game situations can also have an effect on that, and so we'll see where that goes on a week-to-week basis, but I think he's getting more and more comfortable, more and more conditioned, and all those things, so excited about where he's at.
Okay, so either Todd Downing is telling us that Traylon Burks isn't in good enough shape to play 15 more snaps in a ball game, or he's trying to tell us we don't trust Traylon Burks in the running game. And if the first part is true, that Traylon Burks is not in good enough shape to be able to play 15 more snaps, then shame on Traylon Burks. If it's the other, which is we don't trust Traylon Burks to play in the running game, then the Titans need to change that. Because A.J. Brown was once a rookie too. And when A.J. Brown was a rookie, he played 94% of the snaps, 70% of the snaps, 90% of the snaps. A.J. Brown got hurt, just like Traylon Burks got hurt and missed some weeks. And when A.J. Brown returned, he played 92% of the snaps. He played 74% of the snaps. He played 60. This was after A.J. hurt his chest last year. 74% of the snaps, 63% of the snaps in a blowout win, 82% of the snaps, 87% of the snaps. By the way, only one time last year did A.J. crack 90% of the offensive snaps with Downing as the play caller. His rookie year. And A.J. was A.J. Brown last year. I mean, he was by far the number one receiver on the Titans. He was obviously one of the top receivers in the game. A.J.'s rookie year, he played more games with 90% of the snaps in the playoffs. They only played 3. He played more games with a 90% snap count than he did all of last year with Arthur Smith as his coordinator. That's so depressing. And I go back to Todd Downing thinks he's got the answer for everything. And in this case, I want Traylon Burks to go out there and start taking over the game like A.J. Brown used to, but he can't do it if Todd Downing isn't putting him on the field enough. Again, this is A.J. Brown's snap count all of last season. 81%, 84%, 64% hurt, 79%, 62% hurt. So when I say hurt, that's when he got hurt and didn't finish the game. 92%, 78%, 82%, 52% hurt, 74%, 63%, 82%, 87%. So again, AJ's playing what? 85% of the snaps? Here's Burks this season. 37%, 45%, 69%, 65% hurt, 56%, 50%, and his best game as a pro against Green Bay, 67% last week against Cincinnati. He doesn't play enough in order to be their number one wide receiver. So again, the question has to be why? And basically Todd Downing, in a nice way, because it doesn't sound like Todd Downing's not answering the question when being asked, hey, why is Nick Westbrook-Akine playing more snaps than Treylon Burks? And he says, well, it's a lot of things. It's the conditions of the game. So if the team's down by a lot, Treylon Burks will play because they're throwing. If the team is up by a lot, he won't play as much because they'll be running, which is why he played 67% of the snaps last week, and he played 50% of the snaps against Green Bay. And then part of it is conditioning, coming back off of an injury. But yet, he still is not playing as much as A.J. Brown played last year. And again, when the Titans made the trade, they can say whatever they want to say now. Anybody can say whatever they want to say now. When the Titans made the trade and they gave A.J. Brown to the Philadelphia Eagles, who has transformed the Philadelphia Eagles from the 7th and last seed into the playoffs for the NFC last year into the number one team in the NFL. Think about it. Hurts was there last year. Devontae Smith was there last year. Dallas Goedert was there last year. Miles Sanders was there last year. That team was there last year. A.J. Brown's the difference. So that one guy has transformed the Eagles into the favorites for the Super Bowl. The guy you got in return, your offensive coordinator, who apparently has all the answers, your offensive coordinator won't play what they got in return enough to make a difference. And that's got to be discussed. I've been banging the table the last handful of weeks. I'm like, why is Austin Hooper not playing more? Why is Jeff Swain playing so much? I looked it up today. Cody Hollister, I don't think, has ever been hurt and missed like a Titans game in which he was active to play. I know he hurt his ankle last year and missed half the season. But Cody Hollister is playing double the amount of snaps this season that he did last year. And you think it's an accident that you have the 31st ranked passing attack in the league? You have to play the guys that are good. When I was a kid, Frank Wycheck was not as good of a run-blocking tight end as Mike Rohn was. But they didn't take Frank Wycheck off the field every first down in order to run. Why? Because they needed Frank Wycheck on the field in case they passed, and the defense had to respect it. But here, it's a passing situation. Treylon Burks, Austin Hooper, get out there. It's a running situation. Austin Hooper, Treylon Burks, come back here. A.J. Brown's playing 85% of the snaps. I want to pull up in Philadelphia what A.J. Brown's playing. And I know A.J.'s been hurt with an ankle injury the last couple of weeks, and that is part of the reason why A.J. Brown got traded. No matter how much we want to talk about the fact that, well, the fact that A.J. Brown could have been a pain in the ass on social media and all of those things, A.J.'s injuries were a part of it. Let's see what percentage of the snaps A.J. Brown is playing right now in Philadelphia. I don't believe A.J. has missed a game. 84%. A.J. is playing 84% of the snaps. 84%. Devontae Smith plays 90% of the snaps. You see, that's what other teams do. Other teams don't take their good players off the field all the time. The Titans apparently do. 615-737-1025 is our phone number, 615-737-1025. The biggest criticism that I think even now the experts are criticizing the Titans offense for, and we brought in an expert, and he told us, Todd Downing tries to explain. We'll get to that next. And your phones. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game. Caroline wants to tell you now about the Caesars Sportsbook app.
Huddle up, people. It is time for the Caesars Sportsbook Report. Now, your first bet with the Caesars Sportsbook app, it is on Caesars, up to $1,250. Just sign up using the promo code RADIOFULL, one word, RADIOFULL, and then place your first bet. And if you win, then congratulations, that money is all yours. But if not, don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. You'll get that stake back as a free bet. We've got a Thursday night football game tonight, Bills at Patriots. Give me the Bills to cover the 3.5. I just don't think the Patriots are very good this year. Open to users in Tennessee who are 21 or older. If qualifying bet loses, bet amount returned as a credit. Must use within 14 days. See Caesars.com/promos for full terms. Gambling problem? Call or text the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789. Caesars Sportsbook. You bet, you get.
ESPN Titans NFL Nation reporter Teron Davenport brings knowledge.
3 touchdowns. He was processing, getting rid of the ball quickly.
Passion.
Make no mistake about it. He absolutely has to hit the ground running.
And expertise on the two-tone blue and the NFL. Join TD every Monday at 11, Thursdays at 3, and Friday morning at 8 for all the latest on your favorite team. Teron Davenport is presented by Craneworks on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
The great Persian poet Rumi once said, either bring me more wine or leave me alone. Truly a wise man if you ask me. When it comes to wine this holiday season, the only place I'll be jingling my cowbells is Red Spirits and Wine. Red's simply got the coolest selection, the best prices, and a holly jolly crew that's always friendly and makes great recommendations without ever acting like some of those pontificating snooty toots that you run into at a lot of places. I love the wine so much at Red that I sometimes forget to mention all of the great Red Barrel Select bourbons, single malt scotches, tequila, mezcal. Heck, Red's got it all to lift your spirits. Not to mention an awesome 16-tap beer growler station and 3 nice cigar humidors where you can lasso up some of the finest smokes. Red Spirits and Wine is your one-stop shop for the holidays, and don't forget, Red's got gift cards too. Red Spirits and Wine is open 7 days a week at Highway 70 South and Old Hickory Boulevard.
Blood Assurance, this community's local blood centers, is hiring for several open positions in the Nashville area. Be a part of a company that helps save lives by providing the local hospitals with the much-needed life source of blood. They offer competitive pay, great benefits, paid time off, and retirement benefits. Blood Assurance has a family-friendly environment. Go to bloodassurance.org/careers. Again, that's bloodassurance.org/careers to apply.
Hal Gill here for my friends at Dunkin'. Everyone celebrates the holidays in their own special way, but you go twice as hard as everyone else. So does Dunkin', which is why they've created 2 espresso-rich holiday signature lattes. The minty, cocoa-dusted peppermint mocha and creamy cinnamon sugary toasted white chocolate lattes are handcrafted with bold espresso and topped with whipped cream to help you do the most this year. So swing by the newly remodeled Dunkin' on Bradley Parkway in Nashville or the new Dunkin' in Mount Juliet and grab one today on the double.
Winning this award is truly like winning the Super Bowl of car dealer awards for Mercedes-Benz.
Edwin Vickery, General Manager of Mercedes-Benz of Music City.
Culture eats strategy for lunch. You have to hit on all cylinders to win this award. You can strategize all you want. You got to still have the right tools, and our tools are our people.
Live the dream with 3-time Mercedes-Benz Best of the Best award winner, Mercedes-Benz of Music City. Go to mbofmc.com.
Genesis Diamonds kicks off the holiday season with the largest luxury pre-owned Rolex event ever this weekend. We've brought in an expanded selection of pristine, like-new Rolex timepieces. Hundreds in stock for this special event, including all the hard-to-find models, Daytonas, Submariners, Pepsis, Datejust, Sky Dwellers, and more. It's an unprecedented buying opportunity. Great prices and special zero-interest financing for 5 years. Come pick out your luxury pre-owned Rolex or get one for someone else. Get the watch of your dreams and spread your payments over 5 whole years. Also, our buyers are on site for this event, so if you already own a Rolex and want to sell it, you'll get top dollar or trade yours for a different model. All Genesis luxury pre-owned Rolexes are hand-selected and rigorously inspected in pristine condition, and our selection has never been better. Don't miss this special holiday pre-owned Rolex buy-sell trade event at Genesis Diamonds this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Sunday, it's a doubleheader in the NFL.
Wilson for the Dolphins, touchdown. Jawan Jennings with the touchdown. Taylor, touchdown. Touchdown, Dallas.
First, the Dolphins battle the 49ers. Then, the Colts head to Dallas to take on the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football. Coverage begins at 2:45 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Rick Stockstill, and you're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 The Game.
You know, the first quarter of a game is about validating tendencies, and when you saw that, you know, you were going to struggle to run the ball in those condensed sets and those 12 and 13 personnel groupings, maybe at that time was a situation where you could have spread them out a little bit more, used more RPOs, put more speed on the field, and spread the field out a little bit for Derrick Henry in the run game, and also had really good athletes on the field. Now, that's been their MO for several weeks, and they've had success doing it. So why change, maybe? But at the same time, I think they have to take a good look at themselves this week and as they move forward and say, if everybody's going to load up in the box and put their big boys in there, and we're going to have mismatches with our centers and guards against really big dudes, maybe we ought to think about doing this a little bit more. Get them into smaller people on the field, more nickel personnel groupings, things along those lines, and spread it out and use our speed on the field at the receiver position and give Derrick some run lanes.
Coach Bob Shoop, he's only been a defensive coordinator, high-level college football, millions and millions of dollars. He's only been a defensive coordinator for the last 20 years. And Bob Shoop is sitting there saying, 30 years. And Bob Shoop is saying, yeah, it looked like it was pretty obvious the Titans would bring the big people out there and try to run it, and their big people couldn't beat Cincinnati's big people, so maybe they should have brought some of the smaller people out there and tried something a little different. And yet the Titans, they're not interested in hearing about that. They're not interested in being less predictable. It's obvious when you see who runs on the field what they're going to do. Oh, there's Swaim 87, Raider 86, Henry 22, Hollister 8. I wonder what they're going to do. Oh, there's Burks and Hooper and Hilliard and Woods. I wonder what they're going to do. Paul Kaharski asked Todd Downing about the personnel groupings and how predictable they may be.
You guys have always been pretty comfortable putting out personnel groups that might say, hey, we're running here, and go ahead and try to stop us. With these six-man fronts and things that have maybe been a little bit more difficult to run against, is there any inclination to disguise more what you're doing? Or are you still comfortable going out there with sometimes saying, hey, we're running it, try to stop us, even though teams are having more success?
Yeah, I think we've expanded some of those personnel packages a little bit as well. You saw us break the formation last week a couple times out of bigger groupings. And ultimately, we need to go execute regardless of what front they put out there. So we'll always keep an eye on those things. We'll always make sure that we're staying on top of our tendencies and self-scout and all those, different kind of studies. But, bottom line is we didn't execute well enough regardless of what personnel grouping was out there.
There you go. That 2nd down and 5 where the Titans were right there in range after Tannehill hit the bomb to Burks and they needed a touchdown against Cincinnati, and they ran it to the left side with the jumbo package in there. It wasn't that Cincinnati had already proved the entire game that the Titans with the jumbo package couldn't run it against Cincinnati's guys. We got to be able to run it with those guys, even though it was obvious what they were calling. But our self-scouting, we'll take a look at that with our self-scouting. Why don't you listen to Coach Bob Shoop? I think the guy's got a pretty good idea what he's talking about. He's only made millions and millions and millions of dollars doing it. Why don't you listen to him say, maybe once you realized early in the game that you couldn't run it with the big guys in there, maybe don't make it more obvious. Maybe make it less obvious. And Todd Downing's like, nah, we're good. You saw us break the formation with the big guys and run 5 out in the shotgun. You saw that play. Yeah, I love that. I love pass patterns with Jeff Swaim in it. Yeah, hey, we saw the one around the goal line where they threw that bubble screen or whatever it was to Jeff Swaim, and it killed the drive. That's your offensive coordinator. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. Daryl has been waiting patiently on Todd Downing. Go ahead, Daryl.
Hey, yeah, I was thinking about Todd Downing and his play calling, and I got to say I got to give the man a chance because last year he pulled off an outstanding job to get us to number 1 seed.
No. What did he do to get the team to the number 1 seed as the offensive play caller? Other than having the quarterback take a humongous step backwards.
He ran that ball, made sure them blockers was blocking, and they did what they were supposed to. I don't know what they're doing this year on that front line, man, but it's looking kind of cloudy. Did a good job against Green Bay, but came in last week and didn't really impress me at all. It's mainly that everybody needs to hold their block without holding, and Derek needs to just go on and run instead of hesitating.
So here's the thing about coaching, and I understand what you're saying, and I don't think I'll say this. I do worry. Thank you, Daryl. I do worry a little bit about Derrick Henry. I mean, I do. Now, Bob Shoop said when he watched the tape that he didn't see anything to be worried about with Derrick Henry, which is a good sign. But I do worry about, does Derrick still have the speed that he once had? And he got caught from behind there by that rookie corner that knocked the ball loose on the Treylon Burks touchdown. That is concerning to me. But here's my thing about any time a coach gets blamed for anything, it's always, well, what do you expect the coach to do? Or it's not the coach's fault that the guy hit the snapper in the head. But because the coaches can't play, no matter what sport it is, baseball, basketball, football, whatever sport it may be, the coach is never telling the player to do the wrong thing. They're always telling them to do something that should work. Ken Wisenhunt was telling his guys to do things that would work. They just happened to never work because they weren't the right thing for those players to do. And I think that's what's happening here. I mean, last year the offensive line was a problem for this team. I don't think the offensive line last year was significantly better than the offensive line this year. Now, and I'll go back to that Bengals game. Remember when they wanted to run it in short yard situations against Cincinnati? They couldn't do it. They tried to run it on a 3rd and short, didn't get it. They tried to run it on a 4th and short, didn't get it. They tried to run it on a 2-point conversion, and they didn't get it. They tried in short yardage situations to run the ball on Cincinnati. And those big old fat boys like DJ Reader inside stopped the Titans every time. And guess what? This week, they did the same thing. So, the last year, Todd Downing proved himself. I don't think so. Do I think it's harder for Todd Downing to do his job when he doesn't have A.J. Brown anymore? Sure. But he's also not playing the guy that was brought in to replace A.J. Brown. He's not playing him enough. And that's a problem. Texter into the text line says, Treylon Burks could absolutely replace A.J.'s production. They just need to throw it to him. That's Jeff in Hendersonville. I don't disagree with the sentiment that I believe that they need to throw the ball to Treylon Burks more. I would agree with that. The idea, though, that Treylon Burks is there with A.J. Brown, that I struggle with. Chris Sanders was talking about this yesterday on the program, and Chris was talking about how A.J. took over games, and Treylon's yet to do that. But I am going to give Treylon Burks this area of grace. They hit the bomb to Burks that sets him up in great position against Cincinnati, and what's the offensive coordinator do? Takes him out of the game. So if they're not going to play him, if they're going to play him 67% of the snaps, I don't know how an offensive player can dominate if he only gets 67% of the snaps. Not when A.J. Brown last year in the divisional round of the playoffs, in which I believe A.J. only caught 4 passes. Now, he dominated that game, but I think he only caught 4 passes, but he played 87% of the snaps. That 20% is a big deal. 615-737-1025. TD will be in here at 3 o'clock. 615-737-1025. I think I've gotten to the point where I've just heard the same excuses over and over and over again. And I don't know if I'm alone. We'll get to that coming up next. Jared Stillman right here, 615-737-1025. Hey, be sure to check out the pregame show. That's right, coming up on Sunday. Twin Peaks in Cool Springs. Join me, Chris Sanders, Derek Mason, 9:30 to 11:30 prior to the Eagles and the Titans. The pregame show is brought to you by TriStar Moving, Parman Tractor and Equipment, Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey, Superbook Sports, Ounce of Hope Cannabis Company as well. And always want to tell the fine folks out there to play silly underdog picks today. Pick 3 football underdog teams you think will win this week for a chance to win great prizes. Play now at theGameNashville.com or the 1025 The Game app. Silly underdog picks is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports, voted the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
The college football season never stops. ESPN college football analyst Trevor Manich joins Stillman and Company every Tuesday at 4:30.
They've got to do what Nick Saban in Alabama has done so successfully over the last 10 years.
Presented by Houston Clinic Orthopedics on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobus. Cold morning leads to a cold afternoon. High temperatures this time of the year, even though it's December 1st, should be in the middle 50s. We will only be in the middle 40s. Good news is no rain in the forecast until late tomorrow into Saturday.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
There's no gift that's more beautiful, more versatile, or more meaningful than a beautiful piece of jewelry gifted from the heart. And there's no better place to find that gift than Genesis Diamonds. At Genesis, making memorable moments is our specialty. This holiday season, we put together our most impressive selection of can't-miss gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands from $100 to $250,000. And now through December 12th, we're offering 5 years, zero-interest financing on any holiday purchase with absolutely nothing down. So the beautiful Eternity Band is just $50 a month. Or that 2-carat pair of diamond stud earrings, just $100 a month. Everything's included in this amazing offer. Even our huge selection of hand-picked GIA-certified diamonds and our luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. Make it a Christmas to remember with something special, something timeless, and something beautiful from Genesis Diamonds. Get 5 years, zero-interest financing with zero down now through December 12th. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs on approved credit.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Can you beat Vegas this football season? Hey, it's Chase McCabe for Superbook Sports. Superbook gives you the chance every week to go head-to-head with the best odds makers in Las Vegas. No fancy computer algorithms, no guys across the pond setting lines for American sports, just the best team of odds makers in the business behind the counter at the Superbook in Las Vegas. Plus, Superbook features some of the best odds boosts and promo bets anywhere. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com and start your battle against Vegas right now. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
How would you like to come home to a bartender who will fix you any cocktail you want?
I'll have an old-fashioned.
I'll have a margarita.
Now you can with the Bartesian Home Cocktail Maker. Bartesian is a sleek machine the size of a coffee maker that makes premium cocktails at the touch of a button. Choose from over 50 different cocktails, from classics to the most exotic premium cocktails served in the best bars today. You'll always get freshly mixed, perfectly balanced cocktails with the Bartesian Cocktail Maker. And now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever at bartesian.com/enjoy. Entertaining? The Bartesian is ideal for parties. No need to stock all kinds of individual mixers for complicated recipes. Every guest gets the cocktail of their choice in seconds. The Bartesian makes a wonderful gift for anyone who loves a fine premium cocktail. Now get Bartesian's best Black Friday deal ever. It's available right now, only at bartesian.com/enjoy. That's BARTESIAN.com/enjoy for Bartesian's best deal ever. Only at bartesian.com/enjoy.
I love it. OMG. I had no idea.
Oil Fire Whiskey is finally here. Oil Fire, a dangerously seductive spirit. You will like it. She will love it. Think you can handle it? Oil Fire, 70 proof whiskey. It's amazing.
Robbie Stanley.
It really doesn't matter until the pads come on and you have to hit each other, you have to block.
Joe Rexrode.
Reliable, go out and make some plays for you. Solid player.
Get your morning started with Robbie and Rexrode every weekday from 6 to 10 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
The 20,000-foot view of your scoring, John, as a team. What is going to be required to just get the scoring up overall as you guys move forward for you guys?
Well, I think it's a combination. I think our power, your power play also. I think when you look at power plays, a year ago we had a lot of, our power play was scoring at a higher rate than it is. I think as of late, we've been producing more. So that's one.
we've got to continue to get that back to the level that it was. The other one is, I think, trying to do a better job of, we're getting, lots of offensive zone time for the most part, but now it's connecting on plays, it's executing. And I think we need some individuals. There's guys that on our team, that are capable of producing more throughout the lineup. And I think if we can get some individuals up and running a little bit better and continue to build our team game, we're spending time there now. How do we get the finishing part? And that's something that we're focusing on, and then we're going to focus on a group there this morning in the morning meeting. And work in progress.
Blah, 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 blah. How do you improve the scoring? We got to do better on the power play. Got it. Don't need more than, all that, gobbledygook from John Hines this morning on the show. It's just a bunch of words. So tonight, the Predators take on the second-best team in the NHL, the New Jersey Devils, who, by the way, John Hines used to coach. And it's funny because when John Hines got fired by New Jersey, he got hired here. I asked everybody, how is he going to be any better than he was in New Jersey? And everybody told me, well, that's New Jersey. They stink. They're rebuilding. They're not. This team is ready to compete. And the Predators have not won a playoff series or even a play-in series under John Hines. And yet the Devils right now are the second-best team, tied with Boston for the most amount of points, although Boston has a game in hand in the NHL. Now, let me say this about the Predators. I used to get really mad when I felt like the organization needed big changes and that, it was a different direction, whether it's coach, general manager, star players, signings, whatever. I used to get really mad. I really am not that mad anymore. I used to get mad when I'd watch, them lose a game, and I'd hear the sentiment after the game be, we thought we played well enough to win, and, we didn't get the result we wanted, and, all those things. That's fine. I've watched the Predators go out there and play against some of the worst teams in the NHL. That team they played the other night that they beat in overtime, that's the worst team in the league. Tonight, they're playing the best team in the league. And they went to overtime at home to beat that team. And every time they win a game like that, it's always, we found a way. And I'm really not buying it. I hope I'm wrong. I love my hockey team. But I'm really not buying it. I came in today, and I was talking about the Predators, and somebody said to me, well, the problem with why they played so poorly the other night is because they had all those days off from the flood at the arena. And I said, that's it. It's always an excuse. It's always they didn't play enough games, or they've played too many games, or the team they're playing is too fast, or the team they're playing is too slow, or the team that they're playing has a hot goaltender, or the team they're playing has a backup goaltender. I don't know. Whatever the excuse may be, there's always an excuse. And I'm not going to speak for everybody else, but I'm going to speak for me. I'm kind of tired of it. The reality with the team is this. They said at the end of last year, they barely made the playoffs. I shouldn't say we knew because we could have been wrong. We all said at the time, hey, if they get matched up with Colorado, they're going to get smoked. And everybody, you make the playoffs, you never know what's going to happen. You don't know, you this, you that. They get matched up with Colorado, they get smoked. And then they all started saying, well, nobody expected us to make the playoffs. And everybody rolled their eyes. And they held a press conference at Bridgestone Arena. And they did a really good job of keeping that nobody expected us to make the playoffs to themselves for about an hour. And in that hour, David Poyle and John Hines sat in front of everybody, and the translation of what they said was, we promise fans will be better next season. That was it. Everybody saw the Adam Vingan poll. The fans wanted a new general manager. The fans were willing to be bad in order to get good draft picks that can come in here and change the franchise. The fans wanted a fresh start. And the Predators sat there in front of all of us after getting drilled by Colorado, and they said, we promise we'll be better. The statistics say that if you are not in the playoffs by U.S. Thanksgiving, that you have a 70% chance Excuse me. If you are in the playoffs, you have a 70% chance of making it at U.S. Thanksgiving, which means if you're not, you only have a 30% chance of making the playoffs, which is bad enough because they were not in the playoffs on U.S. Thanksgiving, and they're not in the playoffs right now. That's bad enough. But not only that, the fans here, we don't want to watch the team go to the playoffs and get drilled in the first round. It was bad enough the first time it happened, and everybody got mad at the end of the 2019 season. Think about how long ago 2019 was. And everybody got mad when they went 0-15 on the power play against the Dallas Stars, and Peter Laviolette had to have a press conference and say, blame it all on me. So now after that and the Arizona bubble series, and there was an excuse for that, COVID, okay. Then they got beat by Carolina. There was an excuse for that. Carolina's better than us, but we got hot at the end of the year. And then last year, there was an excuse for that. Colorado was better than us, and Soros got hurt. And right now, there's excuses for the fact that they're not a playoff team. The reality is this. All they do is tell us that they will be good. Maybe they're right. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're right. Maybe this team will not just turn it around and find their way into the playoffs, but they will turn it around and find themselves competing in the playoffs. But the reality is most people, I assume, I start with myself, have heard enough of the excuses. What's the old saying? Fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, shame on... Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. What is fool me 5 times? I mean, look, man. The Predators are what they are. And after every game, if they don't win, they'll tell us that if they didn't hit the post, they would have won. They'll tell us if there wasn't a bad call on a penalty, they would have won. They'll tell us if the puck didn't bounce the wrong way, they would have won. And when they win, they tell us that they've turned a corner and they're playing great. Well, they've won because they went home and they beat the Rangers and they beat the Islanders and they just beat Anaheim, who's terrible, the other night, and they beat Arizona in a 7-round shootout. They're terrible too. But I'm not going to knock them for winning games, no matter how it may look. But now they're playing the big boys. So if you really think your team's good enough to compete with the big boys, I don't want to get on here tomorrow and hear, oh, we weren't fast enough for them. That's the problem. They're too fast. That's the problem. They were too fast. One team's too fast. One team's too slow. One team's too big. One team's too little. It's always something. One team has more talent. The other team, not enough talent. It's always something. They had too much time off. They didn't have enough time off. It's always something. We'll see tonight. We'll see these next 2 nights because New Jersey and New York, those are no joke. Those are top of the league teams. So we'll see. TD is with us. Teron Davenport, TD Power Hour. He's been out at practice. And, of course, TD knows the latest of what's going on with A.J. Brown as they get set to take on A.J. Brown this week in the Eagles. TD will join us for the TD Power Hour. Plus, Von Miller is headed to IR, so I guess Buffalo is kind of keeping that in their back pocket. They play tonight against the Patriots, so Von Miller will be out the next 4 games. I think they're saying it's a lateral knee sprain, but I heard a doctor say that he thinks that Von Miller, or a lateral meniscus sprain, but I heard that a doctor looked at the video and said something's wrong with the ACL, that it may not be completely torn, but something's wrong with the ACL with Von Miller. And when they came out, I think it was Ian Rappaport reported it on Friday and said that, they're going to wait 7 or 10 days and then see. I knew. I was like, okay, this is much bigger than just a sprain couple weeks. That this is, I think Von Miller seriously hurt. He's going to try to play through it. 615-737-1025 is our phone number. TD is with us next for the TD Power Hour. Hey, speaking of the Predators, that's right. Be sure to play Preds Pick to Click. You can do that with my buddies Robbie and Joe in the morning, and it is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, and you also know that TJ Anderson's my home. If you think you know who's going to score, that's right. If you think you know who's going to score a goal in the Preds game tomorrow night, you can win a pair of tickets to an upcoming Preds home game. Participate with Preds Pick to Click tomorrow morning at 8:45 with Robbie and Rexroad, presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty and Superbook Sports.
Stuck at work without a radio?
Wait a minute, disastrous.
I hate that.
It's got to be there.
That's okay. Download the Game Nashville app or go to thegamenashville.com and listen live. We are Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3. The Game.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
They say a good craftsman never blames their tools, and the best always choose the right one for the job. For the builders and makers of this world, nothing beats knowing you've got what you need to get the project done. Northern Tool is a problem solver's paradise. And with savings of up to 50% off and great new deals dropping every week, we've got the perfect gift for all the solvers on your list. We're made for this. Come see us in store or shop online at northerntool.com.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have, credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks is ready to help lift Nashville. As the Southeast's most trusted name in crane and equipment rental for over 30 years, Craneworks offers certified operators to make sure the job is done right. Rentalworks has a diverse fleet of equipment to assist in any project, big or small. From forklifts to carry deck cranes, they have it all. When it's time for your next lift, machinery moving, or rigging project, call Craneworks. Visit craneworks.com. Happy holiday from Houston Clinic Orthopedics, conveniently located where you live and work with various locations in and around the Nashville area. Houston's physicians specialize in spine, joint replacement, knee, hip, upper extremity, and many other orthopedic conditions. At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, they strictly adhere to all CDC guidelines for the patient's and staff's safety. To experience world-class orthopedic care and see a list of all Houston physicians and specialties, visit their website at tn.houston.com and book your appointment online today.
Live from the Game Nashville studios. WPRT FM Pegram, WPUC HD2 Laverne. Nashville's exclusive home for the Nashville Predators. 102.5 and 106.3.
A Benny performance.
Do your job.
And the Tigers regain the lead.
The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury.
He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5, 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live. Thanks to the losses of Amanda J. Gentry. TD is here for the TD Power Hour, presented by Craneworks and Rentalworks. Get all your crane and equipment rental needs, craneworks.com. TD, I know you've had this week circled on your calendar since the schedule came out. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Titans, you are going home this weekend.
Yeah.
I know you're excited. So is everybody else. I know A.J. Brown has to be excited too.
Yeah, I mean, listen, there's so many things tied. You got Tierra Tart, Jim Schwartz, getting to go back home. You got A.J. Brown, as you mentioned. It's been a great week, man. I wake up every day smiling, but the smile is a little bit bigger this week, I have to say.
Okay, so let's start with this. The A.J. Brown Titans drama. I said this on Tuesday before everybody started talking throughout the course of the week. I said on Tuesday, everybody is going to tell you that there's nothing personal there, that it's not a big deal, that, it's the Titans versus the Eagles. It isn't AJ versus the team that traded him. It isn't any of that. But then Kevin Byard said on Monday, was asked about AJ on social media, and he brought up the tweet that AJ sent out during the Kansas City game. And it was, even for Kevin Byard, it was kind of like we remember. Yeah. We remember. And so we got all the drama of what transpired, whether it was social media, whether it was kind of the reporting that you were in the middle of during the draft when they traded him, and AJ coming right to you on record about how he felt about the trade. What do you make of the AJ Brown Titans drama leading into Sunday?
I think it's juicy, man. But you'll hear a lot of the guys say, hey, it's nothing personal and those type of things. And it's not anything personal to the point where there's dislike. But I know, like in college, I have a few of my teammates, they transferred to other schools within the conference. And rest assured, when we played them, I'm like, we got to show Dondre, we got to show Dana that, you know what I mean, you guys transferred, that was the wrong thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, so it's not lost on you.
Yeah, it's not. You fully understand. And you know, these guys are saying that they, you know, they want them to do well, but just not on Sunday. So that lets you know to a degree there's some personalism to it.
So AJ said yesterday that there's nothing personal between him and the Titans.
Yeah, that's a dang wrong lie.
I mean, like, it was AJ, and I mean, you know, I had my ups and downs with AJ, you know, over the years. One time he got mad at Gentry Estes for something I said, thinking that Gentry was me. But I was, the thing about AJ is AJ's the kind of dude that I think kind of takes everything personally.
Yeah.
Kind of like Michael Jordan. You know, it's like everything is, he didn't say hi to me at the restaurant, so now I'm going to go drop 50 points on him in an NBA Finals game. And so I think AJ's kind of always been that way, but it was obvious he's a heart on the sleeve kind of guy, and I know he took it personally. I was thinking about this yesterday. Nobody talks about this. Remember what Corey Davis did to the Titans last year when he played the Titans for the first time? Yeah. And we haven't heard a word from Corey Davis ever about anything. And Corey Davis went out there and lit the Titans up, probably his best performance as a Jet. Well, AJ is probably feeling that same way times about 1,000.
Look, I'm going to put it to you like this. I don't care how, quote, air quotes, good of a person you are or anything like that. When you're in a situation where, I don't care if it's an ex-girlfriend, an ex-team, an ex, it could be, let's say you and Caroline stopped doing a show together and Caroline went and did another show and knew that you were listening. She would do her best to say, you know what, I'll make sure that he understands, like, I am the real deal. It's human nature. You're gonna do that. You know what I mean? It's
the feeling that you're talking about associated with that is disrespect. And that is how AJ felt.
Yeah, financially disrespected. Right. You're correct. You know, and I heard it in his voice when I talked to him that night. You know what I mean? He's like, 16 with incentives up to 20. All I wanted was 22. You know, and you could hear the frustration and the disrespect in his voice. And obviously there's another side of the coin to that. You know, the Titans have their side. But I would guarantee you that there's a personal side of this. Absolutely.
Here's the other thing that I keep bringing up that everybody thinks I'm crazy for. And that is, now we know Amy Adams-Strunk is not one of the crazy owners in the NFL.
Right.
But at the same time, like if you're John Robinson's done a good job as general manager. I mean, the general manager's job is to win, and the Titans have won at an exceedingly higher clip than before he took over. But if you're the general manager and you made that trade, that's not a trade you make without talking to the owner. And so the owner's going to be at the game on Sunday. And the owner is going to see A.J. Brown. And the coach and the general manager know that. And so when you're game planning about what you don't want to have happen on Sunday, Vrabel, I believe, would take a victory even if A.J. had 250 yards.
Exactly.
But I think Vrabel at the end of the day knows that giving A.J. 250 yards is not the key to success. I think it's personal on the Titans side too, TD.
Oh, no. When I say personal, I'm talking about both sides. It is personal on the Titans side. But the thing that I think is really remarkable about this Titans team and about their coach is even though it's personal, he's not going to let that get in the way of what the end result needs to be. And that's why there's so much focus. And if you hear Shane Bowen talk, if you hear Mike Vrabel talk, you talk to Jeffrey Simmons, you talk to Rashad Weaver, you talk to DeMarcus Walker, you talk to Kevin Byard. Yo, Jalen Hurts in that rushing attack, what they did, you see what I'm saying?
Sure.
So they're not going to allow that to get lost in the big picture of A.J. Brown, quote-unquote, revenge game.
Now, if you're Sirianni and if you're Jalen Hurts, how much do you go into this week thinking, hey, we got to get A.J. the ball? I know that every week our game plan is to get A.J. the ball. We always want to get A.J. the ball. You know, I was talking about this earlier. They were a good team last year. They're a great team now, in large part because – and A.J.'s not the only move they made. You know, they went out, they got Reddick, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who's hurt, and I hope he's going to be okay because that looked like, you know, one of the debilitating hits. But A.J.'s not the only guy they got, but A.J. is the guy they got. And so now they're a great team. And so their game plan is probably always to get A.J. the ball, but I think there's probably a certain element if you're Sirianni where you want to make sure A.J. knows, hey, we're getting you the ball, big fella.
There's a thing that you do, right, with receivers, and there's certain ones, Terrell Owens, Chad Johnson, Steve Smith, even Jerry Rice. You got to get these guys involved early. Oh, Randy Moss, especially Randy Moss, because he'll check out. I love Randy Moss. He's a GOAT. But if you don't get him involved early, T.O. too, like those guys will check out. So you got to get A.J. the football early. They have to find ways to get him involved. So that way you channel into that emotion that he has going on, that he's trying so hard to corral and keep under control. You got to make sure that he doesn't go through stretches where he gets frustrated. So absolutely, they're going to make sure he gets the ball. They're going to make sure that he gets touches. But I'm going to tell you something that's really cool about this, because you mentioned the trade that they made. And I'm not comparing Treylon Burks to A.J. Brown. I think they have similarities. In my opinion, Treylon Burks is very, very similar to a guy I saw for 2 years in Philly by the name, or excuse me, a year in Philly by the name of Alshon Jeffrey. He reminds me very much of him. But that's your new car, right? That's your new.
Yes.
So you're going to make sure that thing is as shiny as possible, wheels shining, everything. I bet you they're going to do a lot to get Treylon Burks the football.
Well, I said this because Todd Downing said it's not fair to compare him. D. May said it's not fair to compare him.
It isn't.
Treylon said to you yesterday that, you know, I'm Treylon, he's AJ, but, like, life's not fair, you know, and, like, that's what everybody, you know, I laugh at the idea of Todd Downing telling us not to compare him, because when they were sitting there in the meeting rooms and they were talking about, hey, this is a trade that we might make, you know, that's what they were talking about is, could Treylon Burks replace A.J. Brown, and they were comparing them.
You know, it's not as much can he replace A.J. Brown as much as they're looking at it and they're saying, okay, can this guy come in and do similar things to what that guy did, right? Paul Kaharski, I can't wait to read the post because he's asking about it a lot, that play-action strike route.
Yep.
I'm looking forward to reading his story. But that is something that was not in the offense for the 4 weeks while Treylon Burks was gone. He comes back in the offense. I mean, that's the exact route that Rasul Douglas made, the beautiful play, you know, to pick off Tannehill. That was it. So those are the things. And I asked Coach Vrabel that, and he got into, you know, some of the other things, which took me to something else that they want him to do, contested catches. Against the Bengals, Ryan Tannehill, he looked down the field, and you know what flashed in his mind, man, you only live once. So he threw that football up there, and Treylon Burks went and got it. How many times did we see A.J. Brown do that?
Yeah, especially against the Bengals.
So those are the things where there's similarities, and I think that was where there was crossover in that, okay, we look at this guy as someone that could do similar things. He's not the same. We know he's not A.J., but we look at it as a similar talent set.
I think the one thing Vrabel says about A.J. this week all the time is what I think they like about Treylon Burks, which is what Treylon Burks had at Arkansas, which is that play strength. You know, the fact that, hey, you can be one of the best DBs in the league, but there's going to be no DB that is strong enough to really match A.J. Brown's strength. Like maybe Derwin James is big enough to match A.J. Brown's strength, but I don't think Derwin James is fast enough to run with A.J. Brown at all.
That would be an interesting matchup. But
I thought that until I saw what Travis Kelce did to Derwin James.
Yeah, I mean,
And that was when I was like, wow, like $17 million a year, man. You got to be able to cover a tight end. I know he's the best tight end.
Everybody gets something like that's back in the day. Stevie Johnson used to murder Darrelle Revis.
Yeah.
But, that didn't take away. But the thing is with the play strength, now this is something where I look at Traylon Burks and I'm like, I would like to see more of that. Yards after the catch.
Mm-hmm.
You go back to the Baltimore game a couple years ago, right? Patrick Queen went to tackle him. Marcus Peters was there. What did AJ say to Marcus Peters?
What was that, like a 3rd and 11?
Yeah, and to get into the end zone. He said, hey, Marcus, you paid your bus fare. Come on, take this ride. You know what I mean? And he said it to the other ones, too. Come on, we're going to go for a ride. And he carried 4 to 5 Ravens defenders into the end zone.
Mm-hmm.
That's different. But I'm just you look at the Raiders game, right, a long time, 2019, the play action pass where Darryl Worley, we're talking about a 6 feet, 219-pound DB, went to tackle him, and he bounced off of AJ, and guess what? He didn't come back in the rest of the game. Those are the type of things that, you need to see from Traylon Burks. Just a glimpse of that. And that's what he showed at Arkansas, and that's, I think, where his game will go to the next level. The short pass, take it the distance, make it easy for your quarterback.
TD is with us, 615-737-1025. We'll hit your questions at the end of the hour for TD, for the TD Power Hour presented by Craneworks and Rental Works. And then coming up next, the offensive play calling. Today, Todd Downing was asked about snap counts because we've been complaining about how there's just too much Jeff Swaim, not enough Austin Hooper, not enough Traylon Burks, not enough. What does TD make of that? We'll get to that coming up next. And the Titans offense. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Hey, those are my guys. Hiller has been taking care of my home for 4 years, and I am so thankful. I mean, I never like anything going wrong. But if it does, I'm always glad to have a Hiller who's right there to take care of it. They're giving away cash for the holidays and celebrating from now until the end of the year with special deals. Hiller wants to make sure every child experiences the joy of Christmas this year, so they're donating $50 in Toys for Tots with every tankless water heater purchase. And they're giving away a $250 Visa gift card with each unit. Get a $500 Visa gift card when you buy select new HVAC systems. Or get a $500 Visa gift card with the purchase of any new whole home generator. They have more deals online at happyhiller.com. As always, Happy You'll Be Here. The service is free, and these deals are only available until the end of the year, so schedule today. That's right. Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical. Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Silly Underdog Picks is back. Get your friends and sign up today at thegamenashville.com. Pick the 3 football underdog teams each week you think will win for a chance to win weekly prizes, like a pair of tickets to a sporting event or to a concert in Nashville. Oh, yeah! Go to thegamenashville.com or the Game Nashville app and sign up and play now. Then tune in every Thursday at noon for our expert picks. Silly Underdogs is presented by Volunteer Hose and Gasket and Superbook Sports.
Hey, Robbie Stanley here, and you can give the gift of Preds hockey this holiday season with the Smashville Stocking Stuffer presented by 47 Brand and Local IQ. This includes 2 hockey tickets, a Preds 47 Brand hat, and a $20 food voucher, all starting at just $79. Visit NashvillePredators.com/stocking for more info, or check out the 5-game pick plan presented by Hattie B's. Pick any 5 games and select your seats, plus receive a Preds car flag and a $10 gift card to Hattie B's. Visit NashvillePredators.com/tickets for details.
Christmas shopping is in full swing at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, LG, Sony, Apple, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, headphones, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make Christmas happen.
How to say I love you without words and make your money go further this year? A beautiful piece of jewelry from Genesis Diamonds, and we're making it easy with 0 interest financing. That's right. While interest rates are on the rise everywhere else, at Genesis Diamonds, we're lowering rates all the way down to 0% with 0 down. This is in addition to Genesis' amazing, unbeatable value prices. How about a 5-carat diamond bracelet for only $85 a month? Or a luxury pre-owned Rolex Submariner or Datejust? Pay nothing down and spread the cost over 5 years. Everything's included in this amazing holiday offer, but this is only through December 12th, so shop early. Unique designer jewelry, colored gemstones, classic diamond studs, Handcrafted engagement rings starting as low as $35 a month with 0 down. Even our GIA certified diamonds are included. Let Genesis help you find that remarkable gift for the season and enjoy low payments and 0% financing for 5 years with no money down. Merry Christmas from Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs on approved credit.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
I wanted to know why some people who get COVID-19 get it so bad. I found out it may be because they have a high risk factor, such as heart disease, diabetes, being overweight, smoking, and asthma. Even if symptoms feel mild, these factors can increase your risk of COVID-19 turning severe. So if you're at high risk and test positive, there are things you can do, like asking your healthcare provider if an authorized oral treatment is right for you. Learn about an option at treatcovid19.com. This message is sponsored by Pfizer.
It's on, it's happening. Remember, you can watch us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter.
Get out of the way, I'm watching a game.
Presented by the law offices of Amanda Gentry. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Snap count with Traylon. Is there a reason you don't see him get as many as maybe Woods and Nick or even AJ last year? Or is it kind of a progress work building up to that?
Yeah, I think there's a natural progression into that as you're coming back from some time down. And I think game situations can also have an effect on that. And so we'll see where that goes on a week-to-week basis. But I think he's getting more and more comfortable, more and more conditioned, and all those things. So excited about where he's at.
That was Todd Downing earlier today about the Traylon Burks snap counts. TD's with us for the TD Power Hour presented by Craneworks and Rentalworks. TD, one of my biggest criticisms of Todd Downing is not the actual plays that are called.
Mm-hmm.
It is who plays in the plays that are called. You know, sometimes they bring out the jumbo package. In comes Swaim, in comes Raider, in comes... And Traylon Burks on Sunday against the Bengals played 67% of the snaps. That's his second highest percentage total of the season. But like when A.J. Brown was here, it was 87% of the snaps. It was 82%. It was 87% in the divisional round. And when Arthur Smith was the coordinator for guys like A.J. Brown and Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith, it was 93%, 90%. So one of my biggest beefs, and Coach Bob Shoop, broke down the tape, and he said, maybe they could probably try to go smaller with maybe some more diverse packages.
Mm-hmm.
That's my biggest criticism of Todd Downing. What do you make of, A, the personnel groupings, and B, Traylon Burks and his individual snap counts?
It's a good criticism, but I think you have to spread it out because the way the Titans do this, and I only know this from asking so many times about different players, and it's always consistent. Well, Coach Rob Moore has a lot to do with the snaps. You know what I mean? So you got to displace, and both of those are my guys.
Mm-hmm.
But, you got to displace some of the venom towards Downing and apply it to Coach Rob Moore because he has a lot to do with the snaps also and the rotation. So it's difficult because sometimes you're caught in a situation, and the game against the Bengals was a good example where they had a package in and Burks was in the slot and Swaim was lined up out wide, and this was on the right side. They were in the red zone. I think it was there.
The ball Tannehill threw too hot for Swaim.
Yeah.
That would have been
and
like a 2-yard gain anyway.
He checked to it, and it's like, yeah, the look is there. The package isn't. You know what I mean?
That's what Floyd used to say about faking punts when he was a special teams coach. Who's doing the faking?
Yeah, it's a good point. So I think you have to, factor that into it. As far as Burks is concerned, and as when you started reading A.J. Brown's snaps, it reminded me of a time. Remember, it took a while there was a stretch where he was like, man, I'm not 100%, so I'm not going to be able to get up to, all the way the snaps that I once had. I'm not saying Burks isn't 100%, but I know during that stretch for A.J., there was conditioning that he was still working to get back into game shape. I'm not saying conditioning is a problem for Burks, but that could be something, where he's still working his way into 90% snaps. But if you notice, outside of Robert Woods, here and there, most of those guys, the receivers, they don't play, over 85% of the snaps. You also have to look at this. I personally, if I'm the play caller and if I'm rotating everybody in, when I got Traylon Burks in there, like I'm trying to maximize that rep. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Whether it's a play action, whether it's, the down the field or it's the strike route, or if it's just, hey, you know what, let's send him in motion and let him hook up on the other side and catch the football and just give him the ball in space. I think that's what you have to look at. And that's why taking a deeper dive into those numbers, right, the 67%, okay, now what percent of that percent is on passing plays? That's what you have to look at.
So, see, that's what bothered me, though, about Sunday's game in particular. And I'm just using Sunday because I know the numbers off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
They both played, Traylon Burks and Austin Hooper both played 67% of the snaps. I think it was 38 snaps. Each of them did. Well, I'm not saying that every single one of those was those plays that they were in there for of those 38 were passes.
And now you get into predictability.
Derrick Henry played 32 snaps. Jeff Swain played 31 snaps. And again, I know Derrick didn't run it 30 times, but it's getting to be, to me, where I think what bothers me about the Titans is that, Derrick Mason played, he didn't come out of the game. Even if they were running it with Eddie George, even if it was, 3rd and 4.
But it's different. It's different now.
I
than
know
it was before.
It's a little different. Like the Eagles, Devontae Smith plays 90% of the snaps. AJ plays 89% of the snaps.
Yeah.
This here, that's not what's going on here. And it's almost like the Titans are trying to be too perfect with each run play to say, okay, well, Hollister gives us a better chance to block on this particular run play, but it takes out of the flow of everything they're doing, and it sells out to the defense what they're going to do. And I know that if I were to say that, the Titans would say, well, we hit that 120-yard pass to Hollister against Stephon Gilmore. I know. It happened one time.
Yeah.
But I want Traylon Burks on the field more.
Look, don't get me wrong. I definitely agree he should be playing more, right? When I brought up some of the other things, it was just as a possibility as to why. But he should absolutely be playing more snaps because, the thing is, even when it is a running play, he's a bigger body. He is now their best threat down the field. So sometimes, you know what? You could do the good old wide receiver, take a play off type of look and at the line of scrimmage, release outside and run him off.
Hey, Cody Hollister is not running down the field and diving on the football on the Derrick Henry screen touchdown because he just physically can't do what Traylon Burks did on that play.
I mean, I'm not going to say he can't because I've seen Cody Hollister down the field, blocking, but, I get your point. But I think still, regardless, you want your best players to play the most, so there has to be a reason why he's not getting more snaps. I really am curious, over the next couple weeks, how is that going to increase? Because he should absolutely be in that 80 to 85 at a minimum % snaps. But we don't know what's going on for sure. And remember, he didn't practice today.
What do you think about Hooper? Because Hooper, I think, has really come along.
Yeah.
But again, when it's 1st down and 10 and Derrick Henry's in the game, they keep Jeff Swain in there to block. And I'm like, guys, I think you need to keep the defense has to respect your ability to pass, and I think the defense respects it more if Hooper's in there.
Yeah, no, great point. They definitely respect it more with Hooper in there. I think he should also get an increase in snaps. All right. Jeff Swain is a guy that they say, he's such a superior blocking tight end. I'm not seeing it. So to me, it's like, okay, is that trade-off? When you're looking at the scale of blocking from Swain to Hooper or to Chig for that matter, is that trade-off really that significant to where you have to get a guy who I'm not going to say is a liability, but he's not on the same level as some of your other pass catchers? Do you really get more from the blocking than you lose from what you said, not being predictable and also being able to, okay, you know what? Like the play that we talked about, it's a run look, check, and you change it. That's Chig. Granted, Tannehill has to get that ball down a little bit because you want to make it easy to catch and run it. But that's Chig. It's probably a different result. You know what I mean? So it's just like I don't know that trade-off is enough. And even with Austin Hooper, I mean, you look, this guy is really starting to become a safety net for Tannehill. And
he's a chain mover.
And this is what we thought that we were going to see. Mm-hmm. Well, that's what we were sold in training camp. You know what I mean? So now you're seeing that surface.
I think the thing about – you brought up Chig, which I think is perfect. Chig has big play in him.
Huge play in him.
Every time he touches the ball, he is liable to go 60 yards with it for a touchdown every single time. And if he doesn't do that, there's a possibility like he did the other day where he's going to carry 5 guys with him and pick up a first down. But every time that they take Chig out of the game and run a multiple tight end set with Jeff Swaim, while Swaim might be a better blocker on that run play for Derrick Henry, the other team's defensive coordinator does not have to look at that and think, oh, dear Lord, let's not lose sight of Chigakonkwo because if we do, it's 6. Because if they lose sight of Jeff Swaim, it's not going to be 6.
Yeah.
And that, I think, is that trade-off that we're talking about where just the ability of what a Hooper or a Chig in the game instead of a Swaim or what a Burks in the game instead of a Hollister, what that means on that particular play for the defensive coordinator.
Yeah. I mean, Chig is averaging 18.8 yards per catch. Entering last week, he was, over 20, but he had, 3 for 35. So
he had the one catch where he carried the guys. He didn't get as many yards as he normally gets, but he carried a lot more people.
Yeah, that was on the Titans sideline side. And here's the thing. You watch the sideline when that happens. And that was so beautiful about having A.J. in the game, having Corey Davis and Jonnu Smith especially, is what happened was that physicality in the rushing attack transferred to the passing attack. So now it was just physical all around. And then you would see A.J. run through a tackle, and you see Darren Bates on the sideline going nuts. I mean, he'll go nuts just for anything, but still you see that whole sideline. They feed off of that stuff, and that's where you get that another part of the complementary, because emotions are complementary. Momentum is complementary. So when you're doing that on offense, defense, you're seeing that, you're feeding off of that. That's something they have to get back to, and that's what really with Okonkwo, you talk about comparisons. I don't think there's a better comparison, a better similarity than Okonkwo and Jonnu Smith.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's something that they have to find ways to get Okonkwo involved more because, simply put, he's a playmaker,
What gets me excited about that, did you cover Jonnu his rookie year?
No.
I want to say you came the year Delaney Walker broke his ankle.
I did.
So the rookie year for Jonnu Smith, it was always like 1 step forward, 2 steps back for Jonnu. And I didn't think he was ready to be thrust into the starting role when Delaney broke his ankle, and they had to do it. But Chig doesn't have the step backwards like Jonnu was having as a rookie, which gives me a lot of hope that Okonkwo is going to be like an all-around, like might even be better than Jonnu Smith was. Because right now he's already better than Jonnu Smith is right now since the Patriots don't seem to play him. So I don't know what.
That's just a whole. Yeah,
I don't know what to make of that. TD's with us, 615-737-1025. We will get your phones at the end of the hour as we always do. What's wrong with the running game, TD? We'll get to that coming up next. Teron Davenport is with us. Speaking of the Patriots, they're playing Thursday night football. That's right, Thursday night football tonight. So start NFL Week 13 off with a no-sweat same-game parlay. That's right. However you want to play it, you can take a bunch of bets, combine them together for a chance at a huge payout. And unfortunately, Jonnu Smith under snap count is not an option for you to be able to bet on, though I would take that. But I will say this, I think that Stephon Diggs going to have a big day, and I think that Nyheim Hines might even have a big day as he gets more into the Bills, and I certainly don't think the Bills are going to lose. Build your own or choose from one of the popular SGPs pre-built for you in FanDuel's top-rated sportsbook app. However you want to play, you can bet the NFL tonight with a no-sweat same-game parlay. Just sign up with the promo code JGM. If you don't already have an account, if you do, you're all set. Just sign in to see what you've got. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sports betting partner of the National Football League. 21 and older and present in Tennessee. 3+ legs, minimum $1 bet required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max free bet $5. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call the Tennessee Red Line at 1-800-889-9789.
Want a chance to win tickets to an upcoming Preds game?
Yes.
Tune in to Robbie and Rexroad every weekday Preds game day at 8:45 for Preds Pick to Click. Guess a goal scorer and win.
I'll take Roman Yost.
Matt Duchene. Pick to Click is brought to you by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Visit tjandersonhomes.com to see why they are referred so often. And by Superbook Sports, voted #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
Preds Pick to Click.
We are 102.5 and 106.3. The Game.
They say a good craftsman never blames their tools, and the best always choose the right one for the job. For the builders and makers of this world, nothing beats knowing you've got what you need to get the project done. Northern Tool is a problem solver's paradise. And with savings of up to 50% off and great new deals dropping every week, we've got the perfect gift for all the solvers on your list. We're made for this. Come see us in store or shop online at northerntool.com.
Now is a fantastic time to sell in Nashville, but you can't do it without the intel. And no one has better intel than the Gary Ashton team. You may be wondering, what is this intel I keep hearing about? Intel so you can sell your home without any staging or showings. Intel on where to find your next home so you can sell your current one while the market's hot. Intel that helps you win the buyer battle and cash in on your home equity now. Everyone else is getting the same information and competing for the same properties. GaryAshton.com gives you the edge with the best real estate intel in Nashville. No one else even comes close. Plus, the Gary Ashton team is the official real estate agent for the Preds. Get the confidence to sell your home and find your dream address without the stress. Call the Gary Ashton team with RE/MAX Advantage today at 615-301-1650 or visit GaryAshton.com. And remember, don't sell without the intel.
This holiday season, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from TaylorMade and Bushnell. Featuring the TaylorMade Stealth Carbon Woods with 60 layers of carbon for faster ball speeds. And while you're there, grab a dozen TP5 golf balls. And from Bushnell, save up to $75 on the Tour V5 and Tour V5 Shift rangefinders. There's also gift cards for those favorite golfers on your list. Don't miss these holiday gifts and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Achieve hero status this year. The woman in your life will love this unique and thoughtful gift. Always in style, always fits, always appreciated. Choose your budget, and whether you spend a little or go lavish, she can choose from 10 different services, all under one roof at a Moment's Peace Salon and Day Spa. Gift cards can be printed directly from the website, or they can be beautifully wrapped for a stunning presentation and even paired with other gifts like robes, candles, and all sorts of fun finds from the Gift Boutique. Learn more about this at amomentspeace.com/Christmas.
Hose and Belting Specialties in Murfreesboro is your local source for hydraulic, air, water, and chemical hoses, along with conveyor, timing, and metric belt needs. They stock metric fittings for both air and hydraulic applications. Hose and Belting Specialties stocks Parker hydraulic hoses and fittings, Goodyear Conti-Tech industrial hoses, and V-belts, just to name a few of their lines. For any of your industrial needs, call 615-895-HOSE. 615-895-HOSE.
Saturday.
It's Duggan on the run. He scores. Touchdown. Cade Warner on the receiving end.
It's the Big 12 championship game between undefeated TCU and Kansas State. Coverage begins at 11 on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
What's up, Nashville? This is Stephen A. Smith. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Derek, when you got a chance to look back at the tape from Cincinnati, what were your thoughts? Anything different than you looked at right after the game, or that you felt right after the game?
No. What I said is pretty much what happened.
I'm not sure we've ever had to turn up the answer and not the question. As far as Derrick Henry, anybody being asked, Derrick, what'd you think about Sunday? What I said Sunday. Okay, there you go. TD, what's up with the running game? What do you make of the Titans' struggles? I'm not going to include the Green Bay game in this because I thought they ran the ball effectively against Green Bay. They did not run the ball effectively against Cincinnati. That has a lot of people, maybe myself a little bit included.
Yeah, I think – all right, so you look at the Cincinnati game. Derrick Henry was getting hit 0.8 yards after getting the football. You look at practice, what they do. They have a box 8 yards beyond the line of scrimmage. The little tape that they roll out. If you notice, the next time you go to practice, watch this. All of the running backs, when they're doing their handoffs and stuff like that, they're standing in that box. There's a reason why it's 8 yards back, because they want Henry, and Todd Downing actually said this today. They want him to get on that 4th or 5th step heading towards the line of scrimmage. 0.8 after touching the football, that's maybe 2 steps. That's the problem. A lot of that happened, Mike Hilton coming off the edge. And I told you before the Bengals game, last year, the divisional game earlier this year, rather, I told you he was a force at the nickel position. Watched him do it all the time with the Steelers. How many – I didn't look up the numbers, but I guarantee you he has at least 5 solo tackles. They were mostly on Derrick Henry, so you have that. But then you got DJ Reader, right, occupying gaps because – so they did a bare front, or some people like call it Navajo, the front, where what you're doing is you're covering the guard, center, guard. What do you mean by covering? Well, head up. You're lined up. Head up. You got a D lineman there, D lineman here, and a D lineman there. DJ Reader was one of the guys, and he's occupying too. There was a run where they tried to, move Reader, and they couldn't move him. And as a result, I think it was Nate Davis and Brewer trying to move him, and they couldn't. And Davis kind of was behind a little bit, and Henry tried to hit that gap, and he ended up hitting Davis and bounced off of it, but then had his momentum stop.
Yep.
So that's what's happening. You have guys up front, handling their business and not being moved, or even not being moved, but jumping in gaps. And then they're declaring, okay, look, man, I'm covering this gap as the LB. You gotta run this way. You gotta run into this gap right off because you gotta come up and fill. But what's happening is they're getting free runs. The play in the first quarter where Derrick Henry, he got up and he and Logan Wilson had some words, number 55, the linebacker.
Yeah.
That was a free run. He came right and put him on his back. Those are the things that's happening. Jesse Bates got free runs. And then you look at Sam Hubbard, and this was the beauty in all of it because it's all married. You got the Hilton coming off the edge here. You got Reader occupying gaps and not moving, going where he feels the play and causing the running back to – and then you got the linebackers blitz, and then you got Sam Hubbard on the backside with contain. And he's getting pressure too, or penetration. And you're not going to run the ball against that.
So my biggest takeaway from the Titans running game was I felt like the Packers, are not as tough on defense as the Bengals are. Mm-hmm. But with the Packers, I felt like the Titans were really able to push their big guys back. Now, Kenny Clark, he's not small either, like DJ Reader. But
Reader's different, man.
Reader is a big old – he's a freaking monster. He's like Vince Wilfork in there. He's so big.
Here's something for you. Going back now, Reader told the ESPN NFL Nation Bengals reporter, Ben Baby, he said, you know what, going back to college at Clemson, Clemson, Alabama played, he said, Derrick Henry's never got 100 yards against a defense when I was on the field. I said, Ben, you're crazy, man. I don't believe that foolishness. I went back and looked. You better check the internet. It's true.
And Derrick Henry was averaging like 250 yards a game in college, which is – here's the one thing that I think bothers me. This goes back to even what we were talking about earlier, is if they're going to stack everything in there, like the Bengals are – all right, here we're the linebackers are sprinting downhill as soon as you go back because we know you're 8 yards back, so our linebackers are running there, and we think that our big guys will clog up the line, and then our linebackers will be able to take care of the gap. Don't you have to burn them with the play action pass?
Yeah, you can.
And then if you don't have Chigakonkwo in the game when you are trying to do that, but you've got Jeff Swaim in the game, it makes it more even then the Bengal linebackers even know a little bit more because they're all taught, hey, if they run play action, you got to turn your back around quickly because But when they see who's in there, they're like, okay, we know we're not going to have to do that. Whereas if Chig's in there, they may stop the run when Chig's in there too, but that one time that they don't turn their back and Chigakonkwo runs down the field, it's a touchdown.
Right.
And that's where I feel like the Titans, and Coach Shoup brought this up on Tuesday, was, maybe putting in some different people, RPOs, spread the Bengals out a little bit more
RPOs,
that they didn't do to help the run game as well.
Yeah, the RPOs are something they absolutely have to go with. But here's the thing. because we say, okay, the linebackers are cheating up, taking that read step. But what else is happening behind that? You got safeties going from 12 yards to 8 yards. You know what I mean? So that opportunity that would normally be there is not always there. So with the RPOs, even like you got to be careful. You know what I mean? And also you got smart defensive coordinators where they send the linebacker and they drop the DN, into coverage. So now that's an opportunity for a turnover. So there's so much with it. Bottom line, though, they have to stretch the field, because if you start getting those deep passes, if if he's able to do that more consistently, now it's like, okay, you know what? We got to have one of those safeties back over top, because I don't care if it's Jair Alexander or Cam Taylor-Britt. He's handling his business against whoever. So now we got to cover that. And now the safeties have to drop back some, and now that opens up everything else.
TD's with us. We'll get right to your questions. Although I have the biggest question for TD. The Eagles. Do the Titans have a chance on Sunday? We'll get into that and right to your phones for TD, 615-737-1025. The TD Power Hour is presented by Craneworks and Rental Works, Stillman & Company, 102.5-106.3 The Game.
At some point, it's a combination of who did you play and what does your skill set look like.
Get the best analysis of the big stories in the sports world with ESPN's Jason Fitz.
If you reach for a quarterback in the draft because you need one, you're going to set your franchise back 5 years.
Join Fitzy every Wednesday at 4:30. Presented by Blood Assurance. Jason Fitz.
I am 5'9.5"
on ESPN
102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
From the Fox 17 News Code Red Weather Center.
I'm Fox 17 Code Red meteorologist Greg Bobis. Cold morning leads to a cold afternoon. High temperatures this time of the year, even though it's December 1st, should be in the middle 50s. We will only be in the middle 40s. Good news is no rain in the forecast until late tomorrow into Saturday.
Brought to you by Hiller Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Call the Happy Face Truck today.
Calling a criminal defense lawyer or a divorce lawyer, you may think it's the worst day of your life. It doesn't have to be. If you have quality, competent representation who can guide you through a complex system, we can do that for you, despite if you've been arrested for a DUI or a robbery charge, whether or not you're going through a divorce or a post-divorce, or demanding your fundamental constitutional right to parent your children. 615-604-6263. AmandaJGentry.com.
Men, are you asking yourself questions like, why am I gaining fat? Why is my energy or sex drive down and maybe haven't been getting the exercise you need? If you want to get back to the man you used to be but just don't have that youthful energy, that edge you once had, you very well might have low testosterone. Low T causes all kinds of issues, from a reduced libido, lower drive, and bad sleep patterns to problems with muscle gain, bone density, and more. It may even contribute to erectile dysfunction, and if this sounds like you, it's probably time to get treated for your low T. At the Tennessee Men's Clinic, we've treated thousands of men for low T. We've seen them put on muscle, add to their energy, improve their sex lives, get better sleep, and just feel better. Plus, if you're like most men, you'll see results in only a few weeks. So make an appointment today and experience how testosterone therapy can truly change your life. Your initial appointment is only $99 with results in minutes. Call today, 615-208-9090, or go to TennesseeMen'sClinic.com. Visit our website to learn more, including side effects, treatments, extra, results vary.
When looking for quality recreational sports in Nashville, look no further than Mid-State Sports. With over 25,000 participants, they're one of the largest sports organizations in the Southeast. Winter registration is now open for adult indoor soccer, indoor flag football, indoor volleyball, and basketball. Youth registration includes indoor soccer and basketball. For a full list of youth and adult sports leagues, check out midstatesports.com.
Hey Nashville, TJ Anderson here. With real estate listings, you have to read between the lines, like trendy, so are man buns, or great potential, just like your ex. Must see inside, yeah, because it's a dump outside. My team at TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty is ready to help both home buyers and sellers decode the market. Oh, and if it says open floor plan, the doors are sold separately. Google TJ Anderson Homes, read our reviews, and see why we are referred for a reason. TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty, 615-432-2919.
Chase McCabe.
The best way to figure that out is to watch Twitter.
Willie Donick.
Trying to move down the field for the winning field goal.
And Derek Mason.
I'm putting in my hours and I'm out of here.
Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
TD is with us for the TD Power Hour. We are right to your questions. Phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHunter.com. But first, TD, the first question, I get to start. Do the Titans, nobody knows the Eagles in Nashville better than you do. Do the Titans have a chance against the Eagles on Sunday?
They absolutely have a chance. I mean, Jordan Davis is probably going to play, but they went out and they signed Linval Joseph. They signed Ndamukong Suh. So the run defense has got shored up a little bit, but you could run the football against them. Go back and watch the Texans game. Watch the Washington game. The Washington game is the one to watch. Brian Robinson grinded them out. And if you could keep that game close and run the football, I think you can beat them. And also Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, that's their guy. They're plus 3 in the turnover margin, leading the league. He has 6 interceptions. So
all I know about C.J. Gardner-Johnson is that when he plays, his name gets mentioned 1,000 times in the broadcast.
Always around the football.
It must be like he must be like the David Long Jr. of every team that he's ever played on.
Always around the football.
TD, texter asks, is it just me or does it seem like Todd Downing and the offense has a hard time adjusting to the way the defense is zeroing in on Derrick Henry?
I think you're seeing a 3-game stretch of that because it started with the Broncos. The Packers did it some, but the Bengals just really, again, that's 6-1 look, where you're covering everything up front. Yes, they are having trouble adjusting, and it's something that they have to do because it's now on them to counterpunch, right? They're running the football at will. Right, Derrick Henry leading the league in rushing. Then it gets slowed down. Now, how are you going to adjust to that? So,
David in Arkansas says, TD, do you think Tannehill has the option to change the play from a run to a pass when he sees a certain defensive formation, or is he told to run whatever play no matter what? If he had Hooper and Burks on the field, at least Tannehill could have more options to choose from instead of Swaim and Hollister.
Yeah, we talked about it earlier with the Swaim look, on that kind of like screen type of play, the under route. He has the liberty to change it. So,
Scott in Kansas City says, TD, why did the defensive front seven struggle so badly this past weekend? Were they out-schemed or bullied?
Well, it depends on which area he's saying that they struggled. If you're talking about the quarterback, rushing the quarterback, it wasn't a coordinated pass rush and it wasn't communicated. Where you have, and I talked to Rashad Weaver about, I love talking to the guys without the camera and just, having the mic there. But so he was saying, about the importance of making sure that the communication is there from one end to the other, right? And if everybody's not on the same page, one guy could go the wrong way, and we're talking about rushing the passer, and the gap's opened, and he shoots through, and next thing you know, he's running for 14, 15 yards. And
this week it's going to be 40.
Right, exactly. So that was the big thing, over the last couple the Bengals game, and then you look at the Chiefs game as well. That's been a problem. I think not having Danico Autry has been big because you look at like the stunts and things that they play. Like he'll be the shoot guy, and a lot of times like he's shooting at that tackle, right, and the guy on the outside of him is looping inside, but he'll shoot at that tackle and manhandle and punish the tackle so bad, he'll have a way to the quarterback also. So not only is he being the sacrifice, but he's getting to the quarterback as well. And the guy looping inside, has a free run too.
Do you think Simmons' ankle is holding him back?
I think it is some, but that he's a force regardless. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think it's taken away from him playing like full Jeffrey Simmons, $35 million a year type of guy, but he's still doing this thing.
So how much do the Autry thing, because it's like everybody texted in on Monday, called in on Monday and said, well, they didn't have Danico Autry out there. And I'm like, I love Danico Autry, I do, but you're going to have injuries on your team. You're going to have to overcome them. Danico Autry is not, in terms of value to the team, in my opinion, he's not Ryan Tannehill in terms of like what his value is to the team. But then at the same time, I'm like, You know, Michael Jordan never won a championship without Scottie Pippen, and it does feel like he's the Scottie Pippen of the defensive line with Jeffrey Simmons. Mm-hmm. And I do wonder if maybe this is, from now on, we've talked about this on the air and off the air about how, like, we never see a Danico Autry jersey at the stadium, but inside that facility, they know he's the man.
It's understood.
This is where it's like, oh, yes, Danico Autry is that big of a deal. How do you see it?
Yeah, no, I agree. You're seeing it, you know, and you talk about, like I said, the stunts and things that they do. And then you look at just minor things that don't even show up. Roger McCreary doesn't have his first interception if it's not for Autry, right? Because Autry had the wherewithal, got a hand up, you know, the kickball drill that they do, got the hand up, tipped the pass, it hit Travis Kelce between the 8 and the 7, and bounced off, and McCreary caught it. If Autry is not there to change the trajectory of that ball, that's a catch and run.
Texter says, Ryan says, TD, I think the Titans need to force at least two turnovers to win on Sunday. Do you see a vulnerable area of the Eagles for a turnover? Hurts is not tall. Could it be a pass deflection?
Yeah, you know, Hurts isn't tall, but he does a good job of finding those passing lanes. You know, so there's always opportunity for deflection. Hey, look, you match hands with the quarterback, you could tip it up and it could get picked. I think the area is fumbling. Right.
Well, I was going to say, you know what the most likely way to get a turnover from the Eagles is.
Yeah, and you know,
A.J. Brown fumbling the ball.
This is where you take advantage of the emotion that he has. He's not going to always realize that the journey's over, and he's going to try to do what he did against Baltimore and carry guys. And that's when it's everybody. And there's no coincidence that in practice, what you're seeing the DBs work on is one wrap up, the other punch it out.
Canadian Titan says, for 3 straight weeks, Ryan Tannehill has thrown for 250 yards. While the run game has struggled, in your opinion, why do you think the Titans have been so stubborn with running into the bare fronts? Too much faith in Henry or not enough faith in Tannehill in the passing game?
I think it's just a dedication to trying to establish the rushing game. They're going to, for right, wrong, or indifferent, and Ty Downing said it, he's not going to, you know, run into a wall over and over again, but that's what they're doing. Now, it's not happening as much, you know, as in the past, as far as, like, you know, running against fronts, you know what I mean? But I think that's really what it is. There's a dedication and commitment to fulfilling the DNA that this team has, and they want to run the ball and they want to stop the run.
Can I say, though, that the Packer game, I didn't think the running game was that bad?
It wasn't. It wasn't that bad. It was effective enough, and it did its role, right? You had Burks had a couple. And then the first play of the game, Robert Woods was wide open on a play-action pass. So it had its effectiveness, and that opened things up in the passing game too.
Josh says, TD, why is Jeff Swaim on this team? He is not an NFL player. He can't catch. Anytime Henry is dropped for a loss in a run, right or run left play, Swaim is back there chasing a defender going after Derrick Henry.
I mean, that last part, I'm not going to say anytime, but a lot of times. And that goes back to what I said earlier about I'm not so sure that the trade-off of Swaim's blocking and losing the receiving ability of Okonkwo and Hooper, I'm not so sure that trade-off equals, you know, enough for him to play more than those guys.
Here's my thing on that, which is going back to the Swaim thing. It's not like I feel bad for Jeff Swaim because I've been yelling for about 2 years that I think Jeff Swaim sucks. And I feel bad because Jeff Swaim is like an honest, hardworking man, I would assume. I don't know him, but I would assume that he is. And yet he's got everybody in town sitting there doing what this guy's saying in the text line, which is this guy doesn't belong on the team. Why is he in the NFL? It's not his fault they play him so much, but they do, and it is mind-numbing, TD. It honestly, like, if you found out, you know, Jared Stillman's recovering in the hospital from a cardiac event, you'd say, oh, my God, what happened? He got worked up over Jeff Swaim being in the game on a 3rd down and 4 that they didn't convert.
Listen,
would you be surprised?
Let's not manifest anything like that.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, let's not do that.
But that's what I
get
it gets me every time.
I get where you're going, and, I mean, you have every right to be upset.
You know the old comedian Ralphie May?
Mm-hmm.
So he died of a heart attack. And, you know, Ralphie May was probably like 400 pounds maybe. And in one of his comedy bits, he was talking about the Pope dying, and he was like, if I died of a heart attack, would you be shocked? No, you wouldn't be shocked. And I saw that like a year after he died of a heart attack, and I was like,
be careful with the power of the words you speak.
I was like, Ralphie, man, like, now I can't laugh anymore because, like, that's not funny.
You got to be aware of the words you speak.
So let's hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
But more importantly, Jeff Swain. I'm with the texter. But I feel bad for Jeff Swain. TD, I know we got a load of talking with TD this week.
Yeah, we got Tim McManus, man. It came on. We got a lot of stuff about the Eagles out the way. And even I asked him about Andre Dillard, and he said, the Titans should absolutely sign him. So there's a little nugget, a little teaser. I try to learn from you, listening to you all the time.
He is Andre Dillard, the backup. Like, he's really a do-everything offensive lineman now. He's a tackle, but he's a do-everything lineman for the Eagles.
He plays some guard. He plays some tackle.
I heard Sirianni talking about, just wanting him to be versatile across the entire line. He is the new Elijah Moore. He is TD's guy.
No, it's not my guy. I just think it's the match is there for what the Titans need. It would be a good match. Yeah, I thoroughly believe that. So we got that, got that nugget. Really good stuff on Traylon Burks from Chris Sanders also. So, yeah, man. And then we opened up with a pretty good Jalen Hurts conversation as well. So check it out.
Speaking of Chris Sanders, he had a take on Traylon Burks that I agree with, and I would say it is time. And we'll get to that next. TD, good to see you.
Yes, sir.
TD with us. He'll have great coverage, of course, in Philadelphia because nobody knows Philadelphia and Nashville like TD does. Of course, he'll be on with us for the pregame show. We'll get to that coming up next. Stillman and Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
You watch the game. We talk the game.
The college football playoff rankings, Tennessee, the #1 team in the country.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen.
Genesis Diamonds kicks off the holiday season with the largest luxury pre-owned Rolex event ever this weekend. We've brought in an expanded selection of pristine, like-new Rolex timepieces. Hundreds in stock for this special event, including all the hard-to-find models. Daytonas, Submariners, Pepsis, Datejust, Sky Dwellers, and more. It's an unprecedented buying opportunity. Great prices and special zero-interest financing for 5 years. Come pick out your luxury pre-owned Rolex or get one for someone else. Get the watch of your dreams and spread your payments over 5 whole years. Also, our buyers are on site for this event. So if you already own a Rolex and want to sell it, you'll get top dollar or trade yours for a different model. All Genesis luxury pre-owned Rolexes are hand-selected and rigorously inspected in pristine condition. And our selection has never been better. Don't miss this special holiday pre-owned Rolex buy-sell trade event at Genesis Diamonds this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Genesis Diamonds and luxury pre-owned Rolexes in Green Hills and Cool Springs.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have. Credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval.
Signs First, Nashville's leading locally owned and operated sign and physical media company, has been supporting local community organizations for over 30 years. Signs First offers a 10% discount to all churches, nonprofits, and charities. Go to sfnash.com.
At Houston Clinic Orthopedics, their physicians are specialty trained orthopedists that treat injuries and disorders of the upper extremities. Not all painful conditions require surgery. Therefore, their physicians look for non-surgical solutions first. Depending on your condition, you can be treated with a brace, splint, anti-inflammatory medications, rehabilitation, or if necessary, surgery. To experience world-class orthopedic care, visit tn.houston.com, where experience matters.
O'Reilly.
See the
the road ahead more clearly with Sylvania Bulbs and O'Reilly Auto Parts. Right now, purchase select Sylvania Bulbs and get up to a $20 gift card after mail-in rebate, plus 2 times O Rewards points. Replace your bulbs today and see better tonight. Let the professional parts people help you find the bulbs you need. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts or O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Tonight, your Nashville Predators hit the road to take on the New Jersey Devils. Coverage begins at 5 on your home for Smashville. WPRT FM Pegram, WBUC HD2 Laverne, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game.
A Cromwell media station.
Where you have a voice.
We're one play away from an injury. He knows this. He's a study of the game.
And we have strong opinions.
He's been awful. I don't think they were trying, and that's why I feel the way I feel.
This is Stillman and Company with Jared Stillman and Caroline Fenton. Presented by TriStar Moving on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company is delivered by TriStar Moving, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game, streaming live on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook Live, thanks to the law offices of Amanda J. Gentry. A.J. Brown and the Titans. TD said it in the Power Hour, and you know nobody is closer with A.J. Brown than TD is. Or I should say, nobody is more respected by A.J. Brown than TD is in the Nashville Press Corps. And TD said, it's personal. Not just it's personal with AJ, but it's personal with both sides. And the reality is, no matter how much Vrabel and AJ and everybody else, oh, no, it's the Titans and the Eagles. It's not the Titans and AJ. It's not AJ and Traylon Burks. That's exactly what it is. Now, Chris Sanders was on our show yesterday, and I asked how he feels going into the A.J. Brown game about the A.J. Brown-Traylon Burks trade. Here's what Chris Sanders said.
Traylon Burks is not on A.J. Brown's level yet. And the reason why I say this, and I say this in a respectful way, A.J. Brown took over games. The San Francisco game last year, he took over the game. The Indianapolis Colts, he took over the game. Even though Traylon Burks is making plays, there's a difference between making plays and taking over the game. He hasn't taken over the game yet. He's just made a couple of plays here and there. Look at last week. I understand he had a bomb for 51 yards, but he had 4 for 70. You're talking about A.J. Brown that takes over a game. When Traylon Burks takes over a game, then now we can talk about the swap being a great swap by him, by taking him as opposed to A.J. Brown.
I think it's very well said by Chris, which is Traylon Burks doing a good job the last couple of weeks, but A.J. took over games. Now, A.J. was not Tyreek Hill. A.J. was not Stephon Diggs. A.J. was not Justin Jefferson. But A.J. took over games, and Traylon Burks hasn't yet. But this point of the season, you know, when I was in women's basketball, Jeff Walls, the coach at Louisville, one of the best coaches in America, he used to always say, right around the beginning of March, late February, you're not freshmen anymore. Your freshman year is over. You're not a freshman anymore. And it feels like as we approach December, you're not really a rookie anymore. You've had enough time. A.J. Brown's final 6 games, and there are 6 games left in the season for the Titans. A.J. Brown's rookie year. A.J. Brown had 605 yards, 5 touchdowns. He averaged over 100 yards a game. He averaged 4.2 catches per game. He had 6 total touchdowns, including a rushing touchdown. And to Chris Sanders' point, A.J. Brown, at the end of his rookie year, started taking over games. A.J. Brown had a 100-yard game in his first game against Cleveland. That was on really the first catch that he ever had in the NFL. He went something like 75 yards to set up a score. But in A.J. Brown's last 6 games, he went from 11 yards, 81 yards, 17 yards, 135. Went absolutely off against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 135. Then he had 45 the next week against Indianapolis in a weird game, 153 in Oakland, 114 in a huge game with huge stakes against the Houston Texans. He had 114. He had 34 against New Orleans in a game in which Derrick Henry was hurt. And then in a season finale that had to have it in order to make the playoffs, the year they ended up going to the AFC Championship game, A.J. Brown had 4 catches for 124 yards. You realize that's 30 yards a catch? 4 catches for 124 yards. A.J. Brown turned into a monster in the last 6 games of his rookie season. That's where Treylon Burks is right now. Chris Sanders is right. I think we can all agree, even if you're the biggest Titans fan and you want to be as optimistic as possible and you want to believe in everything, the truth is at this point, Treylon Burks has not taken over a game in the NFL. He's done a lot of good things. He had a great game against Green Bay and really set the tone in that game with the first third down on the deep bomb from Tannehill. But he hasn't taken over a game yet. Now, they need to help Treylon Burks take over a game. Because when A.J. Brown was doing what he did at the end of his rookie season, Arthur Smith was playing A.J. Brown a significant amount of those snaps. 94 offensive snaps in Week 10, 70 offensive snaps in Week 11, 90 offensive snaps in Week 12, 100% of the offensive snaps in a game against New Orleans. And then in the playoffs, 97% of the snaps on Wild Card Weekend, 84% of the offensive snaps against the Ravens in the divisional round, and 92% of the snaps against the Chiefs in the AFC Championship game. So clearly by the end of A.J. Brown's rookie season, Arthur Smith said, we got to get this guy on the field. What that meant was less time for Corey Davis, less time for Tajay Sharp, less time for Khalif Raymond, more time for A.J. Brown. Right now, Treylon Burks, since returning from injury, has only played 56% of the snaps, 50% of the snaps, and last week, 67% of the snaps. So they're going to have to give Treylon Burks the opportunity. I don't know what the hang-up is, and nobody has really been able to explain it to me. Not even Todd Downing, because he was asked today about why Treylon Burks wasn't getting enough snaps. And even his answer didn't really point to one direction as why they're only putting him out there 67% of the time. But the truth is that if you want him to be A.J. Brown, and they traded A.J. Brown for him, the argument I make is that the trade was A.J. Brown for Treylon Burks and Malik Willis. And if you want him to be A.J. Brown, you have to play him like A.J. Brown. And again, this point in the year, A.J.'s rookie year, A.J. was a little bit further along than Treylon Burks, but they trusted A.J. Brown on the field. They played him 94% of the snaps. They played him 90% of the snaps, 91% of the snaps, 100% of the snaps, 97 in a playoff game, 92 in a playoff game. Right now, the most they've played Treylon Burks all season is 69% of the snaps against the Raiders. That's it. They've got to give him the opportunity. But I agree with Chris Sanders. Right now, until Treylon Burks does what Chris Sanders said he was lacking, which is taking over games, the trade is not a good trade yet. In fact, ESPN.com, they polled some experts, and they went over a bunch of the different trades in the offseason, and I don't think it's an accident that trade came up. In fact, I don't think it's an accident that the week of the A.J. Brown Titans game did the idea of ranking the trades and what they thought about that trade. I'm not surprised that came up. Now, they also have like the Russell Wilson trade, in which if John McClain was doing the grades, they would give the Russell Wilson trade. They gave the grade for the Broncos in the Russell Wilson trade a C-. That's a F- for the Denver Broncos. C-, ridiculous. Now, that being said, they give the Titans a B-. They give Philadelphia a B+. And the reason being is right now, they haven't gotten enough out of Treylon Burks. So Chris Sanders is right. Chris Sanders is right. Treylon Burks is yet to reach A.J. Brown's level because Treylon Burks has not taken over a game. I agree. Treylon Burks has to do that. He has to take over a game. The Titans, though, have to help Treylon Burks take over a game. They have to play him. They have to play him 80% of the snaps. They have to play Robert Woods 80% of the snaps. They have to play Austin Hooper more than 67% of the snaps. They have to play Chig Okonkwo more than a handful of snaps in order to give those guys the opportunities to make the passing game better. But specifically Burks, because Robert Woods wasn't acquired to replace A.J. Brown. Austin Hooper wasn't acquired to replace A.J. Brown, and Chig Okonkwo was not drafted to replace A.J. Brown. Treylon Burks was. Now's the opportunity to do what A.J. Brown did at the end of his rookie season when he proved in December he wasn't a rookie anymore. 615-737-1025 is the phone number, 615-737-1025. Plus, what those executives in the NFL, the unnamed sources, what they said about the Titans since they have traded A.J. Brown to the Eagles and what they make of it. 615-737-1025 is the phone number if you want to get in here on the program. Hey, tune into the college football game of the week. This week on 102.5, 106.3, the game is Purdue takes on Michigan in the Big Ten Championship at 7 o'clock. That is a big game on Saturday. The college football game of the week is brought to you by Twin Peaks, home of 29-degree drafts and wall-to-wall sports, and Superbook Sports, voted the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today. And a reminder that on Sunday, be sure to tune into the post-game show following the Titans and the Eagles. Jonathan Hutton and Chad Withrow will be live from 6th and Peabody. The post-game show is brought to you by Renters Warehouse, Two Rivers Ford. Custom order your new Ford from Two Rivers Ford. And Superbook Sports, voted the #1 sportsbook in Vegas. Download their app today.
The Sports Talk doesn't end on Friday. Join Michelle Knezovic and Junie Riddle for Michelle and Junie.
Have they truly been tested yet?
I really want this to be a good game.
Michelle and Junie, every Saturday morning at 9. Presented by Superbook Sports and the Nashville Jam Company.
I think Junie and I are going to go hit breakfast/brunch there after the show.
On 102.5 and 106.3, The Game and the Game Nashville app.
This is for the men who never settle, the ones who believe only quitters end a game in a tie, the type of guys who choose the bar with the biggest TVs to overcompensate for theirs at home. This is the Lodge mentality. This is Twin Peaks.
The countdown to Christmas is on. Take a break at Twin Peaks and bring the crew for a holiday celebration. Need some last-minute gifts? Grab a Twin Peaks gift card in store through December 24th and score a bonus card for yourself, valid in January.
When it comes to sports, it's all happening right now. Hey, it's Chase McCabe. Football, basketball, hockey, and soon enough, the World Cup. And there's no better place to wager on all of that than Superbook Sports. When you sign up, deposit, and wager in the same day, Superbook will give you a bonus up to $1,000. When the sports world is busy, it's time to get busy winning some money. So download the Superbook Sports app or visit superbook.com to wager and win today, just like me. Visit superbook.com for terms and conditions. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789.
Lift it, load it, grade it, grind it, move it, haul it, rig it, dig it, Craneworks, Rentalworks, yeah! The big dog's got it.
Craneworks, the Southeast leader for crane and equipment rental, is looking for the best in the business to fill positions as qualified operators, truck drivers, and mechanics. Craneworks provides superior customer service and a superior work environment. Start lifting Nashville to new heights and apply today at craneworks.com/careers. That's craneworks.com/careers.
This holiday season, tee it up at Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest gifts from Titleist and Bushnell. Elevate your performance with Titleist TSR drivers designed to maximize distance. While you're there, grab a dozen Pro V1 or Pro V1X golf balls. And from Bushnell, save up to $75 on the Tour V5 and Tour V5 Shift rangefinders. We also have gift cards for those favorite golfers on your list. Don't miss these holiday gifts and more happening now at Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee.
Anyone who has ever needed self-storage knows what a hassle it can be. You have to rent or borrow a truck and then find someone to help you move your stuff. And let's face it, moving furniture and heavy items without damaging them isn't easy. Renting the unit is worse. The hidden fees and admin costs are scarier than the dingy facilities you're leaving your stuff in. Why not use Closet Box instead? Closet Box is self-storage without leaving home. They'll pick up your belongings, store them securely, and bring any item back when you need it. The best part? Unlike traditional self-storage, you only pay for what you store. No paying for for unused storage space. Closet Box's background check storage movers are licensed, bonded, and insured and will take care of all of the heavy lifting. Closet Box's local storage centers are temperature controlled and monitored 24/7. Closet Box has an A+ rating from the BBB. Call 877-233-5696 now for the season's best rates. Get $50 off first month storage using code RADIO50. That's 877-233-5696. 877-233-5696.
Your bills are due on the 13th, but you don't get paid until the 15th. Sound familiar? Life doesn't always wait for payday. Get the NetSpend All Access account for your everyday mobile banking needs and get paid up to 2 days faster with direct deposit. Get started today at netspend.com and go beyond banking. Banking services provided by an account established by Pathward NA member FDIC. Faster access based on comparison of our ACH processing policy versus posting funds at settlement. Deposit account opening is subject to registration and ID verification. Terms and costs apply.
We want to hear from you.
Thanks for taking the call.
Join the conversation. Call or text at 615-737-1025. Driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Presented by TriStar Moving.
1025 and 1063 The Game. And on the Game Nashville app.
I'm looking at every opportunity that Traylon Burks has had, and it's disappointing. It's truly disappointing when you go in the game. You're their first round pick, and we can throw in all the other stuff that comes along with it. But you're targeted 5, 6, 2, 3, 6, 8, 6. That's not a number one receiver. Traylon is a number one receiver, but you're not targeting him like a number one receiver. You want to get everybody else in the game. Like, everybody come. This is Little League. Everybody,
You get a ball.
You get a ball.
You
and you
get
get
a
a ball.
ball.
Oh, matter of fact, come on, little Johnny. Come on in. I want to throw you a quick screen.
Come on, Cody Hollister.
Exactly.
Come on, Jeff Swain.
Throw them all in. I
You
want to get all
targets.
y'all the ball because your parents are watching on television or they're sitting in the stands, and I want to make sure that they know their baby is out here and he's participating on this team. Hell no. Get the ball to Traylon Burks. He needs to be targeted like A.J. Brown is targeted.
That was Derek, and I'm on his side. I mean, if you're gonna make the trade, you're gonna trade A.J. Brown for Traylon Burks, which is what it was. A.J. Brown for Traylon Burks and Malik Willis. If you're gonna make the trade, then you might as well throw him the ball. Instead, Todd Downing plays him 67% of the snaps, whereas A.J. Brown was playing, even last year in the divisional round game against the Bengals, 87% of the snaps. So the NFL executives at ESPN.com, some unnamed NFL executives, graded the Titans and Eagles trade. They gave the Titans a B- and the Eagles a B+. Quote, according to an NFC executive, the Titans run the ball so much that you could argue they don't need to pay a receiver that much. But some of the struggles in the passing game suggest they miss him. Let me say this. They miss A.J. Brown. And I am optimistic that with a little bit more pressure on Traylon Burks and with more playing time and, to Derek's point, more targets for Traylon Burks, that he could step up and maybe become a number one receiver for this team. They certainly miss A.J. Brown. There's no way around it. And the Titans had to know when they made this trade there was going to be some level of growing pains, the executive said. But some of the struggles in the passing game suggest they miss him. Quote, he's probably worth what he got, and it's not a crazy deal and one that Tennessee could have paid. When the Titans get behind, they don't have A.J. Brown to throw to. If they have to pass, it's harder on them now. Burks is a good player, though, so let's see how far he comes along. Let me say this. The Titans struggle to pass in large part, not just because they traded away A.J. Brown. It's easy to say that. It's easy to say that the struggles in the passing game are they had A.J. Brown, they traded A.J. Brown, and they're not good anymore. But I'll argue part of the problem, too, is this. They play too many guys that aren't good in the passing game. They play Jeff Swain too much. They play Cody Hollister. Even Nick Westbrook-Akine, and I think there's a role for Nick Westbrook-Akine, and I think he's good at it. But Nick Westbrook-Akine probably plays a little bit too much, and Traylon Burks probably doesn't play enough. Austin Hooper doesn't play enough. Jeff Swain plays too much. Chig Okonkwo doesn't play enough. And so when Ryan Tannehill had basically 4 guys, and then you could mix in whoever else you wanted to. But when he had 4 guys, A.J. Brown, Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith, and Derrick Henry, and you had 1 spot for somebody else, they were an elite offense. You didn't know what they were going to do. So Todd Downing makes it harder on himself and his own passing game because they make it predictable when they're going to pass and when they're going to run, and he doesn't play the good players enough. So it's not as simple as, well, they don't have A.J. Brown anymore, so they miss him in the passing game. But it is true that they do miss A.J. Brown. An AFC executive, according to the ESPN.com article, likes Philadelphia's side of the trade because Brown, who has 49 catches, 785 yards, and 6 touchdowns, can take over a game. Just like Chris Sanders said yesterday on the program that A.J. Brown was taking over games, and to this point, Treylon Burks is not. Devontae Smith is widely regarded as a good receiver, but not the same physical, imposing player as Brown, who will need to clean up his fumbles in back-to-back games. This is an NFC executive. Quote, I don't really believe in Jalen Hurts like some others do. Are you getting a full return on Brown considering the quarterback they have? That is a legitimate question. And I completely agree with that, too. I am not a huge Jalen Hurts guy. I love the personality of Jalen Hurts, and I think he's got a great team around him. But I'm not completely sold in Jalen Hurts being a number 1 NFL quarterback. He's not Joe Burrow, and I don't think he's ever going to be. Now, I love the leadership skills of Jalen Hurts, and I love the fact that the Eagles have put everything around him, just like that Titan team with Tannehill, where he's got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert when he's healthy, and Miles Sanders the running back, and that he's playing well. But the scout is asking a question, which is A.J. better than people think he is now, but he's being held back because they've got an above-average quarterback and not a great quarterback, which is one I've thought about here. I blame the play caller more than I blame the quarterback, but I think that that's probably a question here. And the same could be said for Burks, which is Treylon Burks being given an opportunity to succeed when his play caller is playing Jeff Swaim? 615-737-1025. Our phone lines are driven by WilsonCountyHyundai.com. Texter to the text line says, while I lean more towards agreeing with you, I cannot fail Burks for not taking over a game. I'm pretty sure we have seen Burks make a great play, and Todd Downing decides he needs to sit for the next 6 plays before he gets another snap. As long as this Titans coaching staff continues to provide targets to bombs like Jeff Swaim, then nobody will really take over in the passing attack. That I agree with. That comes from Steven. I think it's more of a blame pie. I think it's more of a both things can be true at one time. Let me say this. The number one reason why the offense is struggling is because of its play caller. Now, I don't get mad at him for predictable plays in the same way that I feel like a lot of you call in, text in, blame the play caller, where it's, I'm sitting on my couch in my living room and I know what play they're going to run. What bothers me is, one, how predictable it is when they put certain players in the game, and 2, how many plays they run, and I mean critical plays, red zone plays, that they run where they keep their best players out of the game. I understand situational guys. I get it. You want to bring 4 tight ends. Is it? Because I think it's still too obvious, still not a threat of a pass. We saw Green Bay stop a 4th and short when the Titans did that on Thursday night last week. But fine, I get it. But you hit a bomb down the field, and on the next play you bring in the jumbo package and you run the ball twice, the defense knows what you're going to do. So I would agree with that. Now, I don't know if that's why Burks hasn't taken over the game, but I think they have to give him a chance to try. Texter says, Todd Downing is driving this offense into the ground. Somebody needs to take it over. Texter into the text line says, I agree with you about Jeff Swaim. I agree with you about the targets. Why won't the Titans change it? Let me say this. I've asked Bob Shoop. He doesn't know. I just spent an hour asking TD. He doesn't know. I've asked everybody. Why is Treylon Burks playing 50% of the snaps on offense against Green Bay Packers when he's on fire? Why is Jeff Swain playing as much as he plays? Why is Nick Westbrook-Akine, who, again, I like Westbrook-Akine, but he's never going to be A.J. Brown. Why is he playing as much as he plays? And why, when Arthur Smith was the coordinator, did A.J. Brown play 94% of the snaps week 10 of his rookie year? 100% of the snaps week 15 his rookie year. 97% of the snaps in a wild card game at New England. 92% of the snaps in the AFC Championship game. And Treylon Burks is playing 37%, 45%, 69%, 65%, 56%, 50%, and 67%. Somebody give me a good explanation. Downing had an explanation today. He was asked specifically about Treylon Burks' snap counts. And Todd Downing, tell me if you can deduce the reason from what he said as to why they truly don't play Treylon Burks more.
Snap count with Treylon. Is there a reason you don't see him get as many as maybe Woods and Nick or even AJ last year, or is it kind of a progress work building up to that?
Yeah, I think there's a natural progression into that as you're coming back from some time down, and I think game situations can also have an effect on that, and so we'll see where that goes on a week-to-week basis, but I think he's getting more and more comfortable, more and more conditioned, and all those things, so excited about where he's at. Okay. Was there really an answer there? No. 615-737-1025. Jason Fitz will join us next, ESPN Radio. I think Fitz is getting promoted at ESPN. Good for him. We'll get to Fitz up next. His thoughts on A.J. Brown's return against the Titans. I guess it's not a return because A.J.'s not coming here, but A.J. Brown's debut against the Titans. We'll get into that with Fitz. Edley's Barbecue. I love Edley's Barbecue. They are my go-to pick. And if you've got some holiday party coming up or a big event, let Edley's take care of the catering. Let Edley's Barbecue cater your next event. They are voted Nashville's best barbecue 4 years in a row. That's Edley's Barbecue. They are a winning pick. They've got pickup, delivery, and full-service catering, which includes full bar packages and bartending services. So you cater with Edley's, they'll take care of all of it. So you won't have to do any of it. And their food is incredible. And I know this because I'm a huge Edley's fan. Perfect for small gatherings, corporate meetings, boxed lunches, team celebrations, special occasions, weddings, rehearsal dinners, and the holiday parties. Call your neighborhood Edley's or order online at edleysbbq.com. That's Edley's Barbecue. My guys, edleysbbq.com.
Hey, I'm Matthias Ekholm, and this is Smashville.
Ekholm, his shot, he scores! Matthias Ekholm gets the Predators' third of the night.
You're listening to the flagship of the Nashville Predators radio network, ESPN 1025, The Game.
Give the gift of luxury this holiday season. Nothing is more elegant than a trip to the Omni Nashville Hotel. Gift cards from Bob's Steakhouse or Mocara Day Spa make wonderful gifts for any occasion, especially during the holidays. The foodie in your life will enjoy an evening of fine dining from the award-winning Bob's Steakhouse. Bob's Steakhouse specializes in serving big, flavorful steaks next to Texas-sized portions of delicious sides. The special person in your life will be comforted with the gift of relaxation and rejuvenation when they receive a gift card to Mocara Day Spa. Let the spoiling begin with a soothing facial, hot stone massage, body treatment, salon service, or mani-pedi. Bob's Steakhouse and Mocara Day Spa in the luxurious Omni Nashville Hotel. Purchase your gift cards today.
Christmas shopping is in full swing at Electronic Express. Come into our convenient locations for great deals on all of your favorite brands like Samsung, Whirlpool, LG, Sony, Apple, and more. Electronic Express has huge savings in every department. 4K TVs, computers, appliances, housewares, headphones, gaming, and more. Save up to 40% with up to 48 months free financing. Shop in-store or online at electronicexpress.com and get free express delivery on most items. Electronic Express. We make Christmas happen.
Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if a prescription is appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for full details and important safety information. Subscription required.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same but is 90% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. At Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the biggest brands at 90% off. That's right, get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but 90% cheaper. It's the same medication you get from your doctor, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Jonathan Hutton.
You have to put the ball in his hands in that moment.
And Chad Withrow
My kicker's making no decisions on a football team.
are in the game. Join them for NFL postgame after every Titans home game. Live from Landshark Bar and Grill in Margaritaville on Broadway. They'll break down that day's game and look ahead to the next one. NFL postgame is presented by Two Rivers Ford, Renter's Warehouse, and Superbook Sports on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Hey Nashville, this is Gary Bettman. You're listening to Nashville's best sports talk, ESPN 102.5 The Game.
Hang out with Caroline Fenton this Saturday morning at 10 a.m. on 102.5, 106 The Game as she previews the SEC football slate with Southeastern Carolines, presented by 312 Pizza Company in Germantown. She'll give you her picks of the day and get you set before kickoff around the South. I would assume that's probably around the country since there's only one game around the South, and I don't think Caroline wants to spend too much time talking about that one. LSU against Georgia on Saturday. Jason Fitz joins us now on the program, presented by Blood Assurance. Give blood, give local, save lives. Fitzy, congratulations. For those that don't know, Jason Fitz has just been promoted at ESPN Radio. He will be the host of Fitz and Harry with former Titan and former Louisville Cardinal Harry Douglas on ESPN Radio, noon to 3 Eastern, which of course is 11 to 2 here local time. Fitz, congratulations, brother.
Thanks, man. I'm ecstatic the news is out, and Harry and I, as you know, have been friends for a long time. So this is one of those rare opportunities where somebody comes in and says, "Hey, you want to work in the middle of the day on ESPN Radio with one of your best friends?" And the answer is a resounding yes. So we're beyond excited for it, and it's going to be really awesome to be out there. Everybody can listen on ESPN Radio, obviously, but you can also watch in the ESPN app because we're too pretty to just be on radio. So, I figure we'll at least be entertaining. May not always be smart, but we'll at least be entertaining.
Okay, Fitz, the Titans and the Eagles, A.J. Brown, that is entertaining as he makes his, I don't want to say like his return, his debut, whatever you want to call it against the Titans. It's the revenge game for A.J. Brown on Sunday against the Titans. What do you make of it? This line is at 5.5. The under is usually the play in the NFL, and not only is the under usually the play, so is the underdog. I'm a little surprised that it's only a 5.5-point spread. What do you make of Philadelphia, A.J. Brown, and playing his first game against the Titans on Sunday?
So I think one of the interesting things about this is that A.J. Brown has been chirping so much about the Titans for so long. It really does feel like the organization and the fans are still sort of living rent-free in his head. I'm curious to see if he comes out and plays within himself. I know that sounds cheesy at times, but even the guys I've talked to that played the game will tell you that there are certain games that you have a hard time amping down. I'll go back to Harry Douglas. I was talking to Harry the other day about the bigger the game, what was his pregame ritual, and he was telling me that sometimes he had to go out there and listen to like classical music right before kickoff because he was too amped up. I think there's a real opportunity for A.J. Brown to try too hard in this situation. So, for him, he's got to play within himself. If he plays within himself, he's one of the best 3 or 4 wide receivers in the NFL. And, frankly, what makes the Eagles so dangerous is that they don't make a ton of mistakes. They have a quarterback that makes the right read, and they got a bunch of guys that could get open. So, I feel really good about the Eagles against everybody, including the Titans. But I think that A.J.'s got to sort of calm down a little bit. The fact that he's still talking about how much he thinks this means to fans speaks to how much it's still in his head.
Fitz, do you think the Titans are pretenders after what happened last Sunday against the Bengals?
I don't think they're pretenders necessarily because this is such a weird NFL year. I don't think they're a great football team, but I'm not sure there are a lot of great football teams out there this year. Like we've talked about it all year that
there are only a couple of teams out there. Like Kansas City is, I can't figure out how they lost to the Colts, but I still believe in Kansas City most weeks. But even Buffalo, a team that I've been very high on all year, week in and week out over the last month, has tried to make me doubt that. So I think there are fatal flaws to most teams. I was a little surprised that the Bengals, who have been just absolutely inefficient without Jamar Chase, I did not. I took the Titans in that game. I put money on the Titans in that game. I was confident on the Titans in that game, and it just didn't come together the way I thought it would. I didn't think that their offense was inspired enough, and I thought that the Bengals were able to get too much done considering how one-dimensional they've been without Jamar Chase on the field. Their scoring and their yardage has dropped so much. I really thought it played to the Titans, and I was wrong. So I don't think they're pretenders, but I think it does speak to the fact that they haven't separated themselves to be as good as they possibly can be.
Jason Fitz is our guest, ESPN Radio, presented by Blood Assurance. Give blood, give local, save lives. Fitz, where would you rank the Eagles right now in terms of the hierarchy of the NFL? Are they the favorite? Are they second, third, fourth? How do you see Philadelphia right now?
Well, they're clearly the NFC favorite to me, and it's not even close.
Really? Because, Fitz, for the first time in my life, I should say the first time in my adult life, I believe in the Cowboys.
Woo! I mean, look, you're not wrong, by the way. The Cowboys are a good football team. I don't want to take anything away from Dallas, and I think Dak gets a really bad rap a lot of the time. So I think Dallas is good. But the thing of it is with the Eagles, they just had one of those off seasons. It was a home run. I mean, not only were they able to get A.J. Brown, they were able to work on their defensive line deficiencies, presuming that Jordan Davis comes back fully healthy at some point. That makes a huge difference to them. They've got to be able to stop the run, which they were doing with him. But then they wait till the end of the year. They kind of play the NBA mercenary game, get a couple of guys to come in late that can help them on the defensive line. I think the Eagles, top to bottom, they don't have a lot of weaknesses. And if you look across the board, like I said earlier, it's not like somebody asked me the other day, is Jalen Hurts legit? Well, what do we think legit is? Do I think that Jalen Hurts could go out there and by himself win a Super Bowl? No. Do I think that with this surrounding cast of characters, he is playing legit football? Yes. I think both of those statements can be true. So I think the Eagles are well coached. Their talent is up and down. They don't have a lot of holes. They don't have a lot of discrepancies that I don't believe in. So I think they're clearly the NFC favorite. But still, for me, I know that Mahomes and Andy Reid have found ways to lose. I still think Kansas City's the best team in the league right now.
Jason Fitz is our guest. You're a Raiders fan. Everybody knows that. Todd Downing here is by far the least popular guy in town. Everybody can't stand him. My biggest criticism with him is I think the play calling can be too predictable based on the personnel groupings he puts out there, and he just doesn't play the good players enough. Traylon Burks gets 67% of the snaps. When Arthur Smith was offensive coordinator, A.J. Brown was playing 94% of the snaps. So I ask you this question as somebody who experienced Todd Downing at one point as a fan. What do you make of the criticisms on Todd Downing? Are they consistent with what your criticisms were years ago when he was in Oakland?
Yeah, 100%. And that was the knock on him, is that you knew what was coming from a mile away, and you can't be conservative and predictable. You can't be both of those things. If you're going to be conservative, it needs to be that you can out everything everybody in the process of being conservative. So, hey, we're going to be predictable, we're going to be conservative, but we're going to out execute you to the point that you can't stop it. That's a rarity, but man, I mean, we talk all the time about the Packers wasting Aaron Rodgers. I think at times the Titans have really wasted Derrick Henry. He's a Hall of Fame level running back, and they've just basically looked at, he's been able to mask the deficiencies. And the best way, I say this all the time with Kenneth Walker III, I think Mel Tucker every year should send a huge bouquet of flowers to Kenneth Walker III because he got him paid at Michigan State. Kenneth Walker III went out and saved that offense week in and week out for Michigan State. I think Derrick Henry, just being as stinking good as Derrick Henry is, has made a huge difference for the Titans. It allows them to get away with being all of the things that you just described. But if the entire fan base knows what's coming, then so does the defense on the other side of the ball. And if you're going to be that way, you better be able to be so talented that you can out-execute everybody. And I don't think the Titans top to bottom offensively are. So you need an offensive coordinator that's going to make your guys better, not an offensive coordinator that's just going to stand there and hope that the guys don't lose what he's calling. There's a big difference in those two approaches. And frankly, it's a failing, and it will eventually lay, I think, at the feet of Vrabel, because Vrabel, ultimately, the head coach will always be responsible for the coordinators.
Last one for you, Fitz. How discouraged should I be that the Titans are 0-3 against the Bengals, Chiefs, and Bills?
Very. And that's one of the hard things is that the last couple of years you've been able to say, well, look at how they played against some of the better teams. You know, the weirdest part about the Titans is that they're built in such a way that I feel like if the playoffs started today, they are going to be able to keep almost every game close. The two problems that I think the Titans will face throughout the rest of the season is, one, if you just have one of those games where it gets away from you early, whether it's the officiating crew, stupid penalties, whatever it is, if you find yourself in a hole, I don't know if this Titans team can dig out of a hole against the best of the best. And then the other thing is, if you are going to every week play Russian roulette where you are down to a 3-point, possession game every single time, at some point you are going to need your quarterback to be the consistent thing that will be able to win you those games. And you know that I've squarely been on the side of there's worse than Tannehill, but man, if that's what it's going to come down to, if we're going to beg this offense to come up with creativity to manufacture a bunch of points offensively through the passing game, I think we all fairly have some doubt on whether or not that can happen.
Jason Fitz, ESPN Radio, congratulations on the new promotion. Once again, that is 11 to 2 Central, right?
Yep, 11 to 2 Central. Also, shameless plug on Saturday. Anybody watching the Big 12 championship game, I'm doing the Dr. Pepper tuition challenge. So I'll be hosting the kids that are throwing the money into the buckets for free tuition. Let's go.
Oh, no. Jason Fitz, ESPN Radio. Congratulations, Fitz. Take care of yourself, brother.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you.
Yep, Jason Fitz joining us on the program here as well. All right, Predators play the second best team in the league, and I mean, we've seen them go to overtime with some of the worst teams in the league. It concerns me. Can they compete with one of the best teams in the league? Hal Gill plus Predators game day. That's next. Stillman & Company, 102.5, 106.3 The Game.
Your home for the MTSU Blue Raiders is 102.5 and 106.3 The Game. Every touchdown.
Yes, touchdown.
Every three.
Free ball, yes, sir.
It all lives here.
Middle Tennessee.
You can also hear the Blue Raiders in the Borough on 97.5. Middle Tennessee Athletics on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Middle Tennessee, you can count on an award-winning service team for all your home maintenance and improvement needs. Lee Company, we're A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau and trusted by thousands of homeowners in our community. Our team is ready to assist with all your home maintenance projects, heating and air conditioning, plumbing, electrical, appliance service, and more. Experience the convenience of calling one phone number for all your home maintenance needs. Call Lee Company today at 615-567-1000 or visit leecompany.com.
There's no gift that's more beautiful, more versatile, or more meaningful than a beautiful piece of jewelry gifted from the heart. And there's no better place to find that gift than Genesis Diamonds. At Genesis, making memorable moments is our specialty. This holiday season, we put together our most impressive selection of can't-miss gifts. Rings, earrings, pendants, bracelets, bands from $100 to $250,000. And now through December 12th, we're offering 5 years, zero-interest financing on any holiday purchase with absolutely nothing down. So the beautiful Eternity Band is just $50 a month. Or that 2-carat pair of diamond stud earrings, just $100 a month. Everything's included in this amazing offer. Even our huge selection of hand-picked GIA-certified diamonds and our luxury pre-owned Rolex watches. Make it a Christmas to remember with something special, something timeless, and something beautiful from Genesis Diamonds. Get 5 years, zero-interest financing with zero down now through December 12th. Genesis Diamonds, Green Hills and Cool Springs on approved credit.
Open Sundays till Christmas.
Need cash for the holidays or to pay off credit cards right now? Loan Pronto's all-new Express Equity Line of Credit program is just what you need. This is great. You can keep your low mortgage rate and still get cash out. That's right. You don't have to do a full home refi. You can tap a small portion of the equity you have and enjoy a super low rate. With Loan Pronto's Express Equity Credit Line, you can close in 7 to 10 days, and a $50,000 loan will come your way, and it only costs you around $300 a month. Use that money to pay off whatever bills you have. Credit cards, consolidate other debt, or start a home improvement project. With Loan Pronto, you can access up to 95% of your home's equity, and 9 out of 10 homeowners won't even need the appraisal. Even if you did a total refi recently or just bought your home, you can tap the equity with this fast, easy program. Do it now before the holidays. Call Loan Pronto, 615-499-5780. That's 615-499-5780, or go to loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 166-1781, subject to lender approval.
Chase McCabe.
Competition in all positions.
Willie Donick.
You know what? I went on the radio and I tried.
And Derek Mason.
The man that sleeps on the floor
never falls out to bed. Chase, Willie, and D-Mace. Weekdays from 10 to 2 on Nashville's best sports talk, 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. You're listening to Stillman and Company.
Sounds like this has been a game-changing day for all of us.
Presented by TriStar Moving on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and on the Game Nashville app.
Stillman and Company, a big Preds game tonight against the second-best team in the league, the New Jersey Devils at New Jersey. With that, Hal Gill joins us live from the booth, presented by Duncan here on the program. Hal, let's start with this. The Predators played the worst team in the league on Tuesday night, and they won. Even though it was overtime, even though it was ugly, it wasn't pretty, they won the game. Not going to get mad at them for winning. But today it's the exact opposite. It's the second-best team in the league on the road. How much of a measuring stick game is this for the Predators tonight?
I think safe to say these two games, back-to-back going to the Islanders, two good ways to measure. This is a young, fast team. You know, the Devils are they're kind of changing the game the way I see it. You know, they're playing a lot faster, executing. So I think this is a good challenge for him and for the Preds. And you know, the way John Hines has the line set up and the way he's doing things, you know, maybe this is a better matchup than it would be against the Anaheim Ducks. You know what I mean? I think that they can match up and play a better sound defensive structure game, not worry about trying to go out and score, but play good defense against this team. A good cheesy road win, if you will, like get greasy and find a way to scrap one out. This would be a huge get for them if they can pull it off.
How are they going to fix the power play?
It's a good question. You know, John Hines shuffled the deck and had two units that were pretty evenly matched, and they started to get a little bit going, and then he said, okay, now that they're going, they got some confidence, let's put all the big guys back together, and it just been sputtering. The last game, it was bad. They just couldn't get the possession in the offensive zone. They couldn't make plays, and they were just really static. So, you know, I'm not sure how John Hines is going to handle that, if he shuffles it back up or if he just goes with the guys that are playing well. Sometimes coaches will just say, hey, if you're playing well, you're going to be on the power play, and if you know, third period comes around and you're still not playing well, we'll play someone else. So I think there has to be some incentive to go out there and compete. That's ultimately what it is. Sometimes you don't worry about being on the power play. You're worried about go out there and find a way to score goals and play it 5-on-5, even though you have the advantage. So they need to get something going because, you know, the few times that they were going on that homestand, I feel like that power play and their penalty kill as well, were finding ways to help them win games, and you need that.
Hal Gill's with us, presented by Duncan. Hal, as a player, now that Thanksgiving is past, you know, I always look at that Thanksgiving as a line of demarcation, and the Predators are on the wrong side of it, but, you know, we're not going to yell about that right now. What I do wonder is, you know, the trade deadline is 3 months away, and so that's still far off. The Predators are still right there in the mix. A bad week could put them in some serious trouble. So how do players think about this? Because it's like the playoffs are so far away. I could say today, you know, this is a playoff preview for the Predators because these two teams are going to be in the playoffs, but it's December 1st. So kind of how should we compartmentalize where they are right now in the season with how that should equate to feelings overall about the team?
Yeah, well, you know what? It's funny. You say the 20-game mark, that Thanksgiving mark, so to speak, is it's for everyone. The GM, coach, players, everyone knows that when you get into that good sample size, you are what you are, and that gets everyone's attention. The GMs are saying, okay, I've been patient. Do I need to make moves? Do I need to change things up? The coach is saying, okay, I've given this guy enough string and let him play through any problems he was having, but he's got to perform. And then the players, they know that everyone's watching them. Hey, I got to tighten it up. I got to find a way to make this work because right now, after 20 games, I am what I am, and they're going to judge me as so. So, you know, I just think when you look at that, you know, you could say, okay, this back-to-back could be tough to handle if they lose these games. But you can also say, if they go on a run here and start to put it together, they just had a lot of time off. They're rested. They should be able to come out here without any excuses and compete against a good team. If they start to win and get some confidence going, I really think they're right there. You look at the standings, they have some games in hand because they missed those 2 games with the water main burst. But they're right in the thick of this, and this is going to be a dogfight. And I do think this team is capable of doing so much more. If you look at the way the lines are set up, they don't have a top 6, bottom 6. They're really going with a spread lineup, trying to get guys going and trying to get guys to fight for ice time. And, to be where they are after some of the performances that they've had this season is pretty good. Now, if these guys come around and start playing the way they're capable of, then you're going to see this team get some traction, and that's going to be the fun part. So as a player, that's what I would be looking at.
How important is this month in particular, given where they are in the standings right now, for them to really take momentum at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, it's huge. Leading up to Christmas, I think this is a big spot in where you say, okay, we can make some hay here, and you can't guarantee yourself a spot in the playoff picture in this month, but it really hurts you if you have a bad one. So I always look at it as that segment between Thanksgiving and Christmas is where you want to start making sure that you're the team and that you expect to be and playing the way you expect to be. And if you do that, you take it game by game, you'll have the success. I do believe in this team that they have it. There's a lot of teams that are shocking the world, like the New Jersey. I don't know if they're that good, but they sure are playing like it because they have a ton of confidence. So the Preds just need to find that confidence in this month and keep it rolling.
Hal Gill, great stuff. We will hear you for game time tonight. First, though, tell us about Duncan.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. I don't know. I was just talking to Willie Donick, and he's never had the snack and bacon at Dunk's. And it blew my mind. And I just realized, do people not know about snack and bacon? Dunk's has the best bacon, just a little taster of bacon, and it's fantastic. And it'll make your day a lot better. Just like the everything else at Dunk's, the sandwiches, breakfast sandwiches, chicken biscuits, of course, great drinks, specialty drinks for the holiday season coming up. They're everywhere. Of course, my favorite, Dunkin' Midnight, but you got it all at Dunk's. But if you haven't gone out, they're popping up everywhere, by the way. So there's one in your neighborhood. Just find it and go get the snack and bacon. I'm telling you, it's going to change your life. Go out and get your Dunk's.
There you go. Hal Gill. We'll see you in just a bit. Thanks, Hal.
Appreciate you.
Yep, time now for Predators Game Day.
It's Hockey Night in Smashville.
Deflects back for Duchesne. His shot stopped, and the score!
What are the keys to victory tonight? What's being said in the locker room? Where do the Preds reside in the Central Division standings? Jared Stillman has the latest now. With Preds Game Day on Stillman and Company. This is Smashville's best sports talk.
ESPN
1025 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
Predators Game Day is presented by TJ Anderson Homes of Benchmark Realty. Buying or selling or even thinking about buying or selling? Talk to TJ Anderson. He's my realtor. TJ has taken care of 2 home purchases for me and done even more for my friends. I have no hesitation in referring them to TJ and his wonderful staff. If you're looking to sell your property free and clear, ask TJ how he's having success marketing those properties. We start tonight, the Preds and the New Jersey Devils, the second best team in the league. The Preds come into this one at 10-9-2, good for 22 points. The Devils are 19-4-0, 38 points. They're 9-3 at home. John Hines on the momentum that they have from home tonight against the Devils.
How do you guys hope to carry that momentum into a back-to-back here?
Well, it's something we've talked with our team about is having the habits and details to be able to beat top teams, and we got an opportunity here tonight. We're going to have to come out. We're going to have to play our fastest game of the year, whether that's the way that we skate in transitions, the way that we move the puck. I think from an offensive perspective, we got to do a good job to make them defend in their own zone, to take away some of that speed that they have. And then I think it's going to be a good test for us when we don't have the puck. The willingness to check the right way and the attention to detail you have to have against a high-powered team.
There you go. If you take a look at the standings, the Predators are going to have to make up the points somewhere, as they are currently on the outside looking in of the playoff picture. Again, right now, 26 points and 22 points. The Predators have 22 points, tied there with Minnesota. But again, they're on the outside looking in because Calgary's got 23, so they're a point shy of the playoffs. And they currently have, according to MoneyPuck.com, a 39.5% chance of making the playoffs. So they're going to have to win the games. That's my final thought from TJ Anderson. Those are the games. These right here, they're going to have to steal in order to up those playoff chances. Robbie Stanley's got the pregame show coming up next. Pete Weber will be in with him on the first segment. Preds and Devils, that's next. Stillman and Company, we'll see you all tomorrow at 2.
You watch the game.
Sliding across, making the stop. UC Cerro.
We talk the game.
That wraparound goal by Sanford was a beaut. Tanner Janot, Ryan Johansson gets on the board.
We are the game. Nashville's best sports talk. 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app.
ElectronicExpress.com. We make it happen. At the law office of Amanda J. Gentry, we are committed to defending your rights. We have a team committed to helping you navigate the court system, whether you've been accused of a crime or you're going through a messy divorce and custody. Call our team to help you navigate this system. We are here to protect your rights, to demand your rights, to enforce your rights. 615-604-6263. 615-604-6263.